Morning, everyone. So first things first, we would like everyone to please rename according to your respective school. All right. Um, First, our CPU students or
Recording in
participants.
progress.
So this event is now recorded. This is the day 2 of our action research webinar with Dr. Wilmar Villanueva. So as stated, please rename accordingly for our CPU students who will be presenting today. You have to have the group first, for example, 1, then CPU, then your name. Okay, so can we do that now? To our CPU students, can you follow that you should have the group number first? For example, 2, 3, group 4, and so on, and then CPU, then your full name. For other participants coming from other institutions, then just have your university or your school, and then followed by your respective names. May I see a thumbs up from everyone if that's clear? Come on. Okay, thank you. Ms. Villarmino, Ms. Marquez, and Ms. Tagama, who followed the instruction of showing thumbs up. Now, may we invite everyone to turn on your respective cameras as we begin the date of our seminar or session today. Sige po, pakita nga po ng ating mga naggagandahan, nagagapuan ng mga education students, the future LPTs of the country. All right. I'm seeing right now Mark John Capistrano. We have Kay from CPU, Atilano Cristel, Andrea Novi Lamis. Of course, our speaker, Dr. Wilmar, is already with us. Micaela Ligue is here, Eliza Tagama, and the rest of you are already here. So I don't see yet the group number of the CPU students. You are given a minute to do that. Again, please rename. If you need to rename, go to the list of the participants and then click your name or have there the more and then rename accordingly. Okay, or you may click the ones on your upper left corner, the 3 dots. If you click that one, fine, rename and rename accordingly. Can you do it now? CPU students, you're given a minute to do it for us to easily have the spotlight later on and to put you, to call your attention once we have already the presentation. May we confirm if Miss Abelli is already here? Ma'am Joan, good morning. Yeah, she's already here. Good morning, ma'am. Okay, may we spotlight Miss Joan?
Yun. Good morning. The 2 of the facilitators of field study will also be joining us, Dr. Nelson Pomado and Dr. Maridel Ambos. So they will just be logging in also.
Yes. Please do the honors to introduce them properly later on.
Yes, later if they're here.
Yeah. Sir JR, can we promote Miss Abelio as a co-host for this webinar session so that she could also assist us with promoting our panelists later on from CPU. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So just a recap of the things we have discussed yesterday. Dr. Wilmar started with his journey as a researcher, and then he shared about the different action research studies that he has done over the years when he was still a teacher 1 until climbing the ladder also of the organizational structure of the Department of Education, specifically in STO Quirino. All right, and then he also gave us the 8 M's. All right, may we see if you remember? Please type 1M from the discussion he has shared yesterday. Let's see who would be able to remember.
Sir Virgo.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we will ask one participant na lang to enumerate the 8 M's. I will give 200 GCash.
Oh, there's 200 GCash. So raise your hand virtually and then we would be calling. Come on. Of course, you have the list there, right? So you can just easily. Come on. No one? Okay, we have Andrea Lamis from CPU. Okay, so if she does not make this, we will go on to Mr. Capistrano. Go ahead. You have only 10 seconds to enumerate the 8. 8 seconds begin now.
Milo Matay. Sir, good morning, sir, by the way. Should I
Ano ni
Go
sir
on.
nga, pasunod or pwede ano?
And in any order. Okay, go. Miss Novi, are you still there?
Na-cut siya siguro.
Okay, sige. Miss Novi, let's have Mr. Capistrano this time. You're the second one who raised your hand for a while. Yes, go
Good
ahead,
morning,
Iho.
everyone. Good morning,
You have 10
everyone.
seconds.
Number one is milieu and matter, um, motivations, materials, um, media, measurement, mastery, and methods po.
Dr. Wilmar, please confirm. Is that right?
Okay, correct. You just
Oh,
send your number, Mark, sa chat box natin.
direct message na lang.
Thank you, sir.
20 pesos po, right? All right, there you go. So those are the 8 M's in action research. Dr. Villanueva as well presented the template of the Department of Education for action research and has provided tips on making good titles for action research. And we would have more today as we are expecting our Central Philippine University education students to be presenting their respective action research for this session. And as we begin, we put ourselves in the holy presence of the Lord through this CBRC ecumenical prayer.
Let us feel the presence of our Almighty Creator through the gift of life that we continue to enjoy. Through the past, present, and the future that makes life wonderful. Heavenly God, we praise your omnipotence, we trust your omnipresence, and we believe in your loving heart. Grant that our hearts be filled with love, our heads be nurtured with wisdom, and our hands be molded to care as we journey through this life. May your blessing be showered upon our lives so that we may fulfill our mission to serve our life purpose, and so we may achieve our vision of becoming close to you. Make me an instrument of your love, a messenger of your peace, a steward of your creations, and a gift to humanity. Grant our wishes so that through them we become more equipped to serve you and others. Guide us, be with us, enlighten our minds, touch our hearts, and guide our hands. Bless our loved ones, our families, our world. All these we ask through our loving Creator. In the silence of our hearts, let us pray for our personal intentions. Amen.
Okay. So as we move on to the formal beginning of our day 2 for the presentation of our CPU students, we would like to again remind everyone of the following reminders. I'm hearing now again unmuted participants. So that's the first thing. Please remain muted all throughout the event if you are not to present or if you are not to share insights. Okay, so please ascertain that you are muted. That's another one. Okay, maybe ask our technical team to assist in muting our participants. Okay, there you go. Thank you. And then secondly, specifically, this goes to our Central Philippine University education students for us to be able to facilitate better the presentation in a few. Ms. Joan, let's try to confirm. Would they be presenting per group po, or they have already picked their order for today's presentation?
Yes, thank you, sir. They will be presenting in groups, but we have not yet assigned the group number. So I think I will just call
Okay.
people who will just be presenting. So everybody should be prepared because I already have the list. So just I will call out your names, and then the group will present. So Sir Dr. Lopez, I will also welcome Dr. Nelson Pomado. He's he's the former dean of the College of Education, Central Philippine University. He's now retired, but he's still with us teaching our field study too. Dr. Pomado, are you here?
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Lopez. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, sir, for joining us today. I don't know if Dr. Ambos is still here, but he will also be coming and joining
Alright.
us. Sige.
Thank you so much, Miss Joanne. So without much ado, let's have back our webinar speaker, no less than the Education Program Supervisor in Mathematics and one of the research enthusiasts in the said division, no less than Dr. Wilmar Villanueva. Let's give him a virtual clap, please. Dr. Wilmar, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sir Virgo, Doc Joanne, and the rest of our participants.
Okay. Yeah. Do we have final reminders, Dr. Wilmar, for our students to consider as they would have their presentations for this session?
Wala na. I'm so excited to see the outputs of our participants.
Right. Okay, so Miss Joanne, I think we're ready. Please facilitate now the order and who would be
Thank
the
you,
first group.
Dr. Lopez. Actually, they don't have the presentation numbers because we are all in 3 sections. So I just told them to just prepare. And for those who would like to present first, just message me and direct message me so that I will take a note of that and I will call out your names. So with this, I'd like Heber's group to start. Is Heber's group here?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning,
Okay,
everyone.
Good morning.
I'll just prepare. Am I allowed now to present?
Yes, I think yes, you're highlighted, so you can share your screen.
Thank you so much. Once again, good morning, everyone, to the facilitators of this sort of webinar and sa pagbibigay ng assistance sa amin, no, in formulating our study or action research for a while. So we are tasked, everyone, no? We are tasked to have a presentation and in determining the tawag doon, yung ano natin, yung objectives and the problem that we commonly observe during the observation or classroom observation in a real in an actual classroom setting or environment. And to give you a background of how and why we came up with this scenario or this presentation is that of course we are currently having the online setup. And yung mga estudyante hindi pa siguro nagsisink in sa isip nila na na online sila and may classes sila every morning. There is lack or less na syempre na physical or absence talaga ng physical contact, and yung participation ng students in classroom discussion is really absent. So we have came up with this we have sensed yung mga problems na i-present natin ngayong umaga. I am here with Mr. Mosquera and Ms. Blanco, and we have determined this problem sensing chart. Firstly, yung mga direct causes ng problems na to. First we have the absence of physical interaction with the teacher and not interactive way of discussing the topic, relying on one knowledge reference. The problem that it's present or the effects of this direct causes. Firstly, hindi nag-exist yung student-teacher collaboration, yung students tend not to participate in the discussion, limited scope of knowledge and resources. Yung mga direct consequences nito is first profound and onset learning is not existing. Direct, also yung pangalawa natin is poor student participation during discussion, and the students would not have an in-depth understanding. And bakit importante yung mga bagay na to? Kasi we know, and parang as a teacher, especially now in online, no, parang ang hirap naman kapag walang sumasagot sa'yo na kung anong susunod na word na gusto mong sabihin. Mga fill in the blanks mo na assessment for onset student feedback on the discussion is absent, no, or walang sumasagot na estudyante sa inyo. So, ito yung mga na-observe namin. Next. Ano naman yung objective sensing chart namin? And I hope matulungan kami ng CBRC and ng webinar na to formulate and to really make this idea concrete and clear for us. Kasi parang vague pa sa amin kung ano pang dapat gawin. Firstly, yung exhibit ay competitive atmosphere while learning or students are learning. Yung objective nito is to stimulate a motivation for student in classroom participation, and the direct consequence of this objective or this direct intervention is to improve student participation during, or nag-improve na ang student participation during class participation. Second is the second direct intervention natin is to establish a comprehensive mechanism for active learning. Objective nito is to involve the students in active way of learning, and the direct consequence of this is all students are now actively participating in classroom discussion. Okay, sorry. I am multitasking kasi nag-appear sa screen ko yung yung mag-admit, no? Siguro sa akin napunta yung host. And somehow we've came up with this idea to have a reward system as an extrinsic motivation in the enhancement of CPU grade 10 students' participation in learning living things and in their environment. Yung topic namin na living things and environment na hango ito sa talaga sa curriculum, no? Curriculum guide ng DepEd, and more so, no, if my questions regarding the presentation will be discussed. Thank you so much, and good morning once again.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dalin, the first group, and we appreciate, of course, taking the challenge to begin the presentation. May we have now Dr. Wilmar and Ms. Abelio. Can we spotlight the other doctor from CPU? I'm sorry.
Dr. Nelson Pomado.
Okay, Dr. Nelson. Okay. Dr. Wilmar.
Okay. Good morning once again. First and foremost, I'd like to congratulate our presenter. I was amazed. Siyempre, magaling yung kanilang coach, si Ma'am Joanne. First day pa lang natin nag-discuss kahapon, pero nakita natin yung isang magandang output na ginawa ng ating mga estudyante. No comment na ako, Sir Virgo.
Yung sa thank you, Dr. Villanueva. Yung sa akin lang is my question is, what do you mean the particular topic is on living things and their living things and their environment?
Yes, ma'am.
Grade 10 students.
Opo, ma'am. Opo, ma'am.
So that's a particular topic that you would wanted to
try this, ma'am, this extrinsic motivation na parang reward system.
Reward system na ang tawag dito? You would want to so you're referring to method, no? So it's the reward system that you'd like to apply when you discuss the living things and their environment topic with grade 10 students. Okay, so ang ko lang is you have to specify na lang the reward system You have to be specific. I mean, you have to detail it in your methodology on how you're going, what are the reward systems that you're going to use since it's an online platform. Yun
Yes,
lang
ma'am.
naman.
Thank you so much.
Mhm. If I may add, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, please. Yes,
One
sir.
thing more pala, naganda
Sorry, Dr. Wilmer, I was able to. Please unmute again. Thank you.
Okay, naganda na ko doon sa output ni Nadalen because this is a combination of a mixed method of a quali and quanti later. Maganda. Kasi later on, makukuha natin or magagather natin yung experiences ng ating mga estudyante, yung mga beneficiaries natin. Hindi lang siya mag-e-evolve dun sa data na makukuha natin, but of course, we will gather from the first-hand experience of these beneficiaries from the reward system.
On my part siguro, Miss Joanne and Dr. Wilmer, from the ground or from the experience, anong specific, this is in connection with the question of Miss Abelio a while ago, do we have already specific reward system in mind, Dalen and Mr. Hebert?
Yes, Doc. Yes. Okay. Yes, Doc. Doc Lopez. And the thing we have in mind. Sorry, may dumangtong motorsiklo. The thing that we have in mind is that parang during discussion, bigyan sila i-allow yung students or i-instruct yung students to make their cards, point card system. Like for example, level up, tawagin man yang call a friend, help a friend in the superstar, and they correspond to a certain point. Yung level up is 1, yung to ask a friend is -2 sa'yo sa sa points mo. Then help a friend is additional 2 points, and the superstar card is 5 points, and they also correspond to the degree or the difficulty of the question na binabato sa'yo ng teacher. And kasi online tayo, maybe QR code or barcode man yan to settle the yung na hindi magawa-gawa lang ng students, and that will be collected before having a final exam to measure or to record their participation, classroom participation, and that will be added to their grades also.
Yeah, that's
a
nice
game
because,
show chat.
Yeah, right. I asked the question because definitely we are not in the same circumstances, right, when it comes to access to internet and so on. Now, let me move forward to another concern. You mentioned to provide competitive atmosphere. So dito kasi papasok minsan yung, there are students who really become competitive but lose track of the real essence of the activity. So probably, I would suggest na dun sa mechanism mismo na gagawin ninyo, it would be thorough, it would be detailed, and probably there's an orientation where the students would be specifically guided on how this reward system would take place. Anyway, nasa proposal pa lang naman kasi or sa title pa lang. Pero crucial kasi yon. I experienced myself kasi na pag sinabi mo kasi may reward system, everyone will just do things, may mga magreklamo dyan and so on. So importante na doon sa mechanism later on, it should be as detailed as possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That will be noted, sir.
Okay. Last question probably. For how long siguro yung span nung inyong action research? Implementation.
Because sir, ang ito pong namin, yung course nito is also will be implemented sa aming separate sa practice teaching namin, pero i-implement lang in other and siguro Ma'am Abelio, am I right na to have this February to March? Is that correct, ma'am? And
yes, do you have the whole
yes.
second semester starting
Yes.
January to June for the implementation? So
Right.
it depends on your proposal and your anticipation on this.
Last point na lang po siguro dun, I asked Heber about the length of the implementation because when it comes to reward system, we cannot quantify or qualify it in a short period of time. So probably you read more on the impact of reward system and for how long exactly na pwede nating makita yung manifestation, for example, nung effect ng reward system na to. But other than that, I believe, I agree with Dr. Villanueva that your imagination and your context experience when it comes to rewarding students so that you could get their full attention in classes is actually appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, doctors and Ma'am Abelio.
How about
Thank
Dr.
you.
Nelson, probably, Miss Abelio?
Yeah, Sir Nelson, do you have comments?
Yeah, one that was a very good presentation, Mr. Dalen, and quite challenging. One thing that I have to advise is for the title on the reward system, read more on the positive and negative aspects of that. Because as experience in my 40 years in the academe, or more than 40 years in the academe, this is just an observation and a little reading on the reward system. There are those that who look at these negatively, and there are those who look at these positively. So consider the two sides of the matter, no, as far as the reward system is concerned. But we cannot deny the truth that in the basic education, this is really very necessary. But you know, the grown-ups now may have a different impression of such, considering their age level, their maturity, their experiences and background. Would it be something that would turn them on, or would it be something that would turn them off? You see, so we have to be sure. So maybe from your readings of the different literature, you can support all of these ideas, and maybe in your discussion, you would be able to present well the pros and cons, and would relate that to your title. However, the title is really very nice. Although maybe, as mentioned by Ma'am Abelio, you have specified a particular topic on living things. That could be what is this, improve later, and maybe can be decided whether it has to be mentioned in the title or not, whether it has to be only in the discussion or whatsoever. So congratulations, Paul, for your group and for the very nice presentation.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Doc.
Ms. Lopez.
Thank you, Dr. Pomado. So I think at least it is a good start, Heber, on where you're moving and all. I hope your group mates took notes of that. So the other group mates, you may also take note of the suggestions and the comments, so that later it will be easier for us to incorporate those comments. Yes,
Dr. Wilma?
Dr. Villanueva.
Sir Virgo, I agree with Ma'am Joanne, sino yung kasama
Dr.
natin?
Pomado po.
Dr. Pumado. Siguro, we will not just specify na lang siguro yung topic, kasi kung titignan natin, isang competency lang yon. And parang tinanong mo kanina kay Ma'am Abelio that you are going to conduct this for a month or 2 months. So maybe siguro general na lang science na lang siya.
Noted, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Heber.
Miss Abelio?
Okay.
We proceed to the next.
Yes. Actually, I messaged them who would like to go next.
I
So,
don't think someone responded.
so I'll call na lang. So can we have in the group of Dr. Ambos class? Wait lang. Who's in the group of Dr. Ambos class? Or in my class na lang. Can I call Karen Bolivar's group, please?
Okay, ma'am. Share lang.
Yeah, I think you can share now.
So good morning, everyone. So we are the unknown group, which composed of Bolivar, Losare, and Taninas. So good morning once again. So because as we observe the class of our cooperating teachers, ang kanilang mga problema does not revolve only around the stable internet connectivity, but there's also we also have in common in terms of the attention, limited attention of the students, as well as the hyperactive behavior of the students. So this behavior disrupts the class, bala, especially when they were involved in class, or whether their participation is really in class. So, Eda, pwede mo ma-discuss?
So with the problems that we have observed in our class, each respective classes, we have gathered these notes. For the direct causes, students' limited attention span and hyperactive behavior. So first is that the tasks have wait. So the tasks have been assigned to them are either too difficult or too simple for them. So they tend to just because of these factors, they tend to just sit on their screens and just because of the activities that are either hard or easy for them, they tend to be doing other things while in class. So their attention are super short lang in class. Next is the teaching strategy adopted was excessively passive. So it was only that the teacher was only discussing and some students are not interactive in class. Next is the students do not receive adequate support from their parents or at home. So in my case, because I am observing kinder class, some students have their parents or their yayas beside them to help them with their activities, but some of them napapabayaan, so they tend to do other things and sometimes lumalabas sila sa meeting. So yan kailangan talaga ng para sa amin kailangan ng help ng parents because for my class they are still in kinder 1. So next is students are unmotivated to do their task because of the reason nga sometimes super hard yung task or either it is super easy for them. Next is students appear to be distracted in their learning environment. So there are a lot of factors and they have a lot to see in their room. So they tend to be distracted. They tend to play with their toys or sometimes they would eat in class. So those are the direct causes that maging rason siya para ma-distract or hindi makapag-focus yung student sa class. So next, I will discuss the main problem that we have observed in our respective classes. So our problem is that students lack participation during class discussion and activities due to their limited attention span and hyperactive behavior. So next are the direct consequences. Students were hesitant to do the task assigned to them. The next, students divert their attention away from class discussions or activities assigned to them in order to focus on other things.
So that's all with our problem sensing. So it's more on the attention, unlimited attention span of the students, as well as the hyperactive behavior that disrupts the class, especially their participation. Next is Ray objective. Ray.
Thank you, Karen. So for the objectives part, our main goal in this action research is to diffuse the energy of the students before even conducting the proper the lesson, and to direct their attention to the lesson we are about to discuss. So for the interventions, first is the use of energy diffusing and attention directing strategies. So this would be you would gather this from the teacher themselves or from the internet. You would be researching get some effective strategies that have been proven by researchers or have been practiced get by teachers themselves to improve the class participation of the students during their class. So second is to modify the content or assign tasks to stimulate students' interest. So we plan to modify the content of the lesson or content tasks to stimulate students' interest. So it may be in the lesson proper to give some games or even before pa to first lang diffuse the energy and to help the students concentrate more in the class discussion and making the lesson more uh, uh, for them to concentrate good and to get their interest good. So third is during activities or discussions, use the internet or online games that are relevant. So we plan on using different internet or online games that are relevant to the lesson, which is not only a game that they could enjoy, but also a game they could learn from, and especially it is related yet on the lesson that the teacher is presenting or um, giving the students. Third is to provide autonomy as well as support. Fourth is to relate materials to our students' lives. So we would want to relate also the activities that we're going to be listing the strategies to the students' lives so that they would be able to also they could relate to it and they would not find it na far from what far from ang ilang nga present nga mga circumstances or ang ilang present situations. And last is to develop a positive teacher-student relationship. So as we diffuse their energy and as we direct their attention to the lesson proper, we would want also to engage with the students, to cooperate with them, and to do as we as well as the teacher would really dive into the activities as well to the students to help us create a rapport or a positive interaction or relationship with them. So our main objective kid is to increase the students' participation in class discussion and activities. So as direct consequences, the students become active recipients of learning. They would be able to receive more learning from the lesson because they would no longer be hyperactive and they would no longer they would be directing get all their attention to the lesson and the students direct their attention effectively in class. So that would be
So that's all in our objective sensing. So because of that, we've come up to a research title, which is the use of energy diffusing and attention directing strategy in improving participation of kindergarten students in class. Since we come up sa kindergarten, when it comes to other or higher levels naman yan, their attention naman yan ang problem. And that's all.
Thank you. Karen, diffusing is D-I-F-F-U.
Ay.
D-I-F-F-U-S-I-N-G.
Sorry.
Dr. Virgo, I'll go ahead first.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So, Karen, I don't think you improving the use of energy diffusing and attention directing strategy in improving participation of kindergarten students in class. So, my concern is the word attention directing. I don't know if the attention directing is the correct terminology that you will use. So the use of energy diffusing And I don't know if that is the correct term.
Meaning, Ma'am I, are they referring that to two strategies?
Yes.
The energy diffusing and the attention directing?
Yeah, oo.
Two
Yes, sir.
strategies, no?
Oo.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As long as they can substantiate and what is this? Justify that these are really two strategies in participation.
Oo.
Maybe they have read that these are the two strategies to improve participation of kinder students or pupils, no? Or maybe we change this to kindergarten learners. Learners.
Yeah.
Okay, you can change that to learners. I do not know to Dr. Lopez because this is usually now the generic name used by the DepEd, kindergarten learners in class. And later. Continue, Ma'am Abelio. Mamaya na ako susunod.
Oo. Ang ano ko lang, sir, my concern is that yung word lang na attention directing. Kasi when you capture the title na, you know na your concern is really the attention and the hyperactivity. So that's the problem that you kumbaga yun talaga yung problema, hyperactive yung mga bata. I-diffuse sila so that later makakoncentrate sila. Pero yung ano lang yung attention directing kasi parang it's not for me lang, it's not the right term that you will siguro merong correct terminology there. Pero when you read the title kasi you capture na din what they wanted eh. Yun lang.
Siguro Ma'am Abelio, kung maano lang nila, they can show to you later kung talaga mayroong strategy pa na literature na tinatawag talagang attention directing.
Yeah.
Or energy diffusing. So ipakita lang ninyo, you have to show the literature that this is really the term used. Pero as I read bala sa mga handouts na ibinigay ng Carbalita, yung gamit ng kung sakali no na mayroon tayong energy diffusing at attention directing, yung gamit ng acronym, no, the use of ED and AD strategies.
Yeah.
The
Yes,
use
sir.
of ED para ano naman siya. Attention getting.
Yes, and very nice
that is
to hear.
Class, no? That may I refer this to the group? That is, kung talagang mayroong energy diffusing kayo ng literature na binasa, at kung talagang mayroon kayong attention directing na literature na strategy na nagsasabi ng ganon. So gamitin ninyo siguro based from the slides forwarded to me by Ma'am Abelio, yung gamit ng acronym. Siguro si Dr. Lopez will agree to this, no? The use of ED and AD. Yeah, attention getting, pag mabasa mo, ED at saka AD, ano ba yon? Okay, yan lang as far as the title muna is concerned. Thank you.
Dr. Villanueva? Dr. Wilmar? Okay, I think we'll have Dr. Wilmar later on. I agree with Dr. Pomado, no, and of course Ms. Abelio with that. Na siguro po ito na yung panahon na you explore and be creative in coming up with your respective strategies. So necessary, general kasi itong mga to, at ito yung sinasabi ng literature, but you could come up and go beyond, which is anchored to that, para maging you own, for example, the strategies, para may bago na may papakita. My concern though is that ang daming na-identify like internet or online games. I would like to ask the group, right now may specific ba na online games na good for kindergarten? Na they could manipulate, that they could do actually, that they could explore easily. That is also related to your goal of improving the participation. Ms. Bolivar.
I think the online games that we're preparing is the games will be implementing in class. Like give me what I want, like that.
I see. All right, so that would be okay. Just specific to say these are young learners, so probably there are online games that are not appropriate for their age, and there are those that are related to their age for us to reinforce indeed the participation. I think that's it for now. Dr. Wilmar, may we have you now, sir?
Thank you very much, Sir Virgo, and congratulations once again to our trio presenters, students coming from CPU, Central Philippine University. I agree with Kwan, with Sir, yung nagkwan kanina, nag-comment. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo kahapon, kailangan nating bitinin yung yung magbabasa doon sa ating research. So, I agree with that EDAD strategies. Siyempre, ano kayo yung EDAD? So, kailangan niyang ipagpatuloy na basahin yung research. Okay. Tapos, ang masasabi ko lang, napakayaman ng kaisipan ng ating mga estudyante. We are looking only for one problem, but in the intervention, they presented a lot of interventions. So, ang galing, ang galing.
Actually po, yung mga ibang mga estudyante from Pan Pacific, for example, and from other school, you could actually capture some interventions already from their proposal as well that you could develop and have as well as your own actual research. Kung
Yes.
papayagan din syempre nung mga proponent, no? Na
Okay.
i-develop further.
Yeah, oo. Collaboration to and a learning platform. So,
Yes.
it's really
One thing more,
okay.
tama po yung sinabi kanina ni Sir na when we will not use students sa mga kindergarten kasi students refer to junior high and senior high. So general na lang, learner or learners. At kung na lang, tanggalin na lang natin yung the use of dun sa title.
Yes.
Direct na tayo. EDAD
ED and
strategies.
ED.
Oo. EDAD strategies in improving participation of kindergarten learners.
Karen, please take note of that, ha?
Of saan? Anong school? Okay, yun lang.
Okay, I hope you've taken notes of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sige. So I think we are all clear. Sige, thank you, the group of Karen, Ray, and Edda. So there's a volunteer who messaged me. So, the group of Peter, you're next. Please, thank you.
Wait, ma-share lang ko ma'am screen.
Peter Solidarios. Yun.
So good morning everyone. So my group mates, Don Alfaraz and Christine Abria, and me will be presenting our action research problem. So this is our proposed problem. So it's designing a constructive feedback loop, improving the interest and motivation of grade 9 students. So the direct causes, you have the lack of constructive feedback from the teacher on student assessment. So on our observation in our field study 1, during our observation, we've noticed a lack of engagement in students, especially in active learning. So we asked, so there are a couple of factors that affects the student engagement. So we asked the students themselves if the teacher gives feedback on their assessments in their LMS. So the students replied to us that the assessments that came back to them did not have a constructive feedback. So this poses a problem because students will have no interest or motivation in improving academically if they don't have a proper feedback. So the direct consequences, you have students will see little value in the course or its content. Students will not believe that their efforts will improve their performance. Students will be demotivated. Students will not perceive the classroom climate as supportive, and students will have other priorities that compete for their time and attention, as we've also noticed in our observation that students don't have the attention span in an online environment. So also, individual students may suffer from physical, mental, or other personal problems that affect motivation. So for our objective sensing, the direct causes or the intervention, we have for the intervention, we will design a constructive feedback loop based on the positive feedback loop in online learning and apply it when giving feedback. So our objective to improve students' interest and motivation academically, and direct consequences improve students' interest and motivation to study academically. So that's it for our problem presentation.
Thank you, Peter. I'm
Very first.
happy with your presentation. Before anything else, I'd like to welcome Dr. Maridel Ambos. He's our professional coordinator in the College of Education. Dr. Ambos, welcome. He's also one of the facilitators for our field study and practice teaching. Thank you,
Hello
sir,
po.
for coming. So, Peter, going back to your presentation, I'm happy because that is actually one of the problems that we have, no, ang direct na feedback from the teacher, especially sa online class. So, for me, I don't have comments. No, maybe si Dr. Villanueva and Dr. Lopez and Dr. Pumado or Dr. Ambos. Wala kasi talagang constructive feedback sa
my
ano.
only Dr. Lopez, can I have the floor?
Surely, Doc. Go ahead po.
Can I have the floor now?
Yes,
Yes,
Doc. Go ahead
sir.
po.
Okay, congratulations, Peter. A very nice title, although that could be improved later, and we can decide on the title later. But I would just like to get the opinion of Dr. Lopez and the others. Peter, please show your first slide on the intervention. Yan. Is it okay that in the direct cause, doon kanina, yung una. Yun, yung una, the first slide. First slide, yan. Okay lang ba yun that, anyway, the word here, teacher, would it imply, would it picture a negative image or not? Is it okay to mention here in the problem sensing chart, I mean? Although in the title, I think it's not mentioned, no?
Right po. Doc, I
Oh,
think
wala,
if it is properly contextualized and probably doon sa discussion na lang po siguro na in the rational, if it is really would come out and meron talagang mga proof, then I think that's okay po.
Yeah. Okay lang yan. Oo. Abi, Peter, please flash again the title. May I see the title? Ano ba yon? Constructive. Okay, wala
Yes,
naman, no? Diretso ka sa constructive feedback loop.
Right.
Okay. Sige. All right. Thank
Siguro,
you.
i-reinforce ko lang po siguro yung where is Dr. Pomado is coming from. Kasi usually po kasi when we are coming up with our background and so on, we tend to be so idealistic when it comes to presenting the problems. Like, wala talaga ganyan o hindi maganda, something ganon. So, in order for us to sound like not really be intriguing and so on, we always back up our observations with, of course, literature and evidences to support para hindi siya nagmumukhang opinionated somehow. Ganun siguro yung on my part po. Thank you, Dr. Pomado.
Thank you.
Dr. Wilmar, may we hear from you, sir?
Again and again, my grand salute to our third presenter. And of course, syempre, hindi makapag-present yan kung hindi magaling yung kanilang mga teachers from the CPU, right?
Parang
Tama
mga
yung
professional
sinabi kanina
na
ni Sir
po.
Pomado. Medyo pan lang siguro. I-reconstruct lang natin yung title later. Pag titignan kasi natin ito, it looks like na magiging quali siya And maganda yung research na ginawa ni na Solidarios and kanyang team. And looking forward talaga for the output later, yung implementation ng mga different research. I hope, Ma'am Joanne, hindi lang tayo mag-e-end dito sa presentation. I hope that the different interventions na naisip ng ating mga learners ay i-implement talaga natin. At maganda itong kwan. And batayan natin later for policy recommendation sa DepEd.
Yeah, oo.
Kailan matatapos, Miss Abelio, yung kanilang...
June of next year.
Okay.
Kasi proposal ngayon, field study 2, tapos yung data gathering and analysis sa second semester, which is January to June. That's why, as I was telling you, Dr. Lopez, meron pa tayong mga succeeding for like data analysis,
right,
data writing, analysis writing, discussion writing. Meron pa. Kasi ngayon, parang we would just like to help them lang sa pag-intindi.
Conceptualization
part. Concept, So this is really a very good activity for all of us.
Saka, Sir Virgo, mag-share lang ako. Maganda kasi itong study ni na Solidarios. Kasi during the new normal, medyo nag-shift na rin yung yung practices ng mga teachers natin. Kailangan talagang gawin nila yan sa kanilang mga estudyante para at least, even though we do not have the face-to-face interaction with them, at least napipil nila na parang nandun pa rin sila sa klase at napapakinggan nila yung mga feedback coming from their teachers. Minsan kasi sabihin ko din yung real scenario, until ngayon parang yung mga teachers natin nag-preprint na lang ng module, hindi na nabibigyan ng chance na mabigyan ng feedback kung ano yung output ng kanilang mga estudyante. That's the real scenario talaga. So maganda itong study na.
Yes. Okay. Congratulations, Peter, and to your group mates. Ang challenge lang dito is really the analysis part kasi magiging quali talaga siya. If ever. Sige lang. We will all are here to help. No? Thank you, Peter. Okay.
Ma'am Joanne, maybe if kung mag-materialize po lahat itong mga natin, maybe you can come up with your local conference with your students. Please invite us also para maging audience yung mga teachers namin dito from Quirino para at least meron din silang pag-benchmarkan ng mga practices. Yung mga nakita ko dito, mga bagong intervention na pwedeng i-replicate or i-duplicate ng mga teachers din namin dito.
Yes, sir. That will be a very good collaboration. No?
Thank you.
Ito naman yung maganda sa online kasi anywhere you are. we
Tama. Pero dapat, Ma'am Joanne, when you have your conference, dapat marami tayong pasabog at ipapasyal nyo muna kami sa Iloilo bago yung mga presentations.
Yes, Dr. Villanueva. That is noted. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm looking forward also to come up with research coming from our teachers along mathematics dito sa Quirino para later on invite ko din yung mga students natin from CPU para at least may mga matutunan din sila later. At ganun din, ibebenta rin namin ang Quirino products.
Yes, yes, sir. Looking forward to that. Sige, thank you, Peter. Yung next, Dr. Ambos, yung group ni na K. Cabalfin. Yes, can you, from the class of Dr. Ambos. Okay, you can now share.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Before we start, ang napili namin ang ganitong topic ko dahil nga nagkaroon kami ng observation, field study 1, wherein pure observation siya at sa field study 2, wherein nag-demo teaching talaga kami. In my case, in our case, kasi nga dalawa lang kami dito sa grupo na ito, napili namin yung grade 12. Though, I handling grade 11 students, pero gusto ko grade 12 yung handle namin kasi nga mas nakita ko yung problem sa grade 12. Kasi nga dahil nga grade 11 ako, meron akong mga interventions or naisip na pinag-usapan namin ng cooperating teacher ko kung ano nga ba ang mas maganda na gawin dahil nga problem yung class participation sa klase. Kaya sabi ko to generalize, to make it general na lang sa both senior high school students. Mag-a-attend rin ako ng klase ng grade 12 wherein ang kasama ko ay hinahandle niya is grade 12 students. Kaya pumasok ako sa klase nila, nag-observe ako doon, tapos nakita ko talagang problem talaga yung class participation basta sa online classes ka. Kaya nag-usap kami ng cooperating teacher niya at cooperating teacher ko rin, tapos sabi nila, nag-suggest nila, gumamit ka ng mga interactive video teaching tools, tapos with that, out of that, siguro tanungin mo yung students mo out of that kung ano nga ba ang natutunan nila. Tapos with that, bigay ka ng recognition sa kanila. Kasi nga kapag nire-recognize mo yung students, primarily parang guna-guna sila sa klase kasi nga nakuha mo yung attention na nila. Kaya we come up with the title Interactive Video Teaching Tools and Student Recognition Improving the Academic Performance and the Class Participation of Grade 12 Filipino Students of Central Philippine University in an Online Classroom. Sharing.
Good morning, everyone. So our direct causes or interventions first is lack of student self-confidence. Lack of student self-confidence. Second is students are not truly motivated to listen of instructions. Fourth is their poor connections of the teachers and also the students. And last is they are doing something behind their cameras that are not related on the topic or in the discussions. And our problem is students don't actively participate in the class discussion and they have poor academic performance in an online classroom. And we come up in the direct consequences that we are going to have a oral graded recitations or give recognitions to the students. Second is students will open their camera so that makita ginagawa ng mga estudyante. Third, let the students read some rin ito na nagpa-participate talaga sila sa klase, no? Habang nagbabasa sila ng mga PowerPoint presentation na pinipresent namin. And fourth, we are going to have a virtual short quiz after the discussion. Magkakaroon sila ng short quiz lang para maalaman talaga namin kung nakikinig ang mga students or may nalaman talaga sila or nagpo-focus talaga sila sa aming discussion. And fifth is regularly call the name of the students.
Particularly, sa problem namin is nakita talaga namin yung class participation talaga nila. Tapos nakita rin namin yung mga scores nila sa exam wherein truly kung hindi talaga sila nagpa-participate, may effect talaga sa academic performance nila. Somehow, many of them may mababang scores wherein talagang nagbibigay kami ng graded recitation para sana mabawi. Pero meron talagang students na kahit anong gawin ng teacher ay hindi talaga nagpa-participate sa klase. Kaya plano namin na maging regular yung pag-call ng names nila, specifically maging alphabetical para malaman mo rin kung talaga bang nariyan yung students. At the same time, you are checking the attendance if talagang nariyan siya or nakikinig siya sa iyo during your discussion. Next is direct causes and intervention. Utilize interactive video technique tools related to their topic, give pre-test and post-test to know the effectiveness of instruction toward the students. Talagang magbibigay kami ng pre-test para malaman namin yung prior knowledge nila at kung ano nga ba yung level nung start pa lang after namin nagawa yung ganitong intervention. Next is give recognition to students or some graded recitation. Talagang after namin magdi-discuss or magpapanood ng video na iyon, talagang magbibigay kami ng graded recitation sa kanila kung talaga bang nakikinig sila or nariyan sila during the discussion namin. Objective is to improve the class participation and the academic performance of the students in an online classroom. And direct consequences is improve the class participation and the academic performance of the students in an online classroom. That's all, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Kay. Can you go back to your, okay. My comment lang is yung sa interactive video teaching tools and the students are improving the academic performance and wala na siguro wala ng V, improving academic performance and class participation of grade 12 students in Filipino class. Is this in Filipino class?
Yes, ma'am.
Filipino. Improving academic performance and class participation of CPU grade 12. Ano na ba yun? Of grade 12 Filipino class of CPU. Wala nang in an online classroom.
Okay, ma'am.
Did you get the shorter it is, the catchy it is, the longer it is, the...
Yes, ma'am. I recorded, ma'am.
So, ang ano ko lang kasi, yung pag-present nyo ng title of grade 12 Filipino students. So, may ano kasi siya double meaning.
Okay.
Lahat naman tayo Filipino students.
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
did you get what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
So, improving academic performance and class participation of grade 12 students in their Filipino class, something like that. In their Filipino class. No need na siguro, I don't know, in CPU. So, of CPU grade 12 Filipino class, something like that. I don't know, yun lang ang ano ko, para the shorter it is, the better. And then kung sabi din na nga ni Dr. Pumado, if you could also name your strategy in such a way that it will be catchy, so mas ano siya, mas better. So if you would like to name what is that interactive video teaching tool and what is that student recognition procedure, something like that. You need to be creative in trying to make the name of your strategy.
Okay, ma'am.
Yun lang yung sa akin.
Siguro, ma'am ay. Oo.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Siguro doon sa students recognition, bahala na sila sa kanilang ano doon, operational definition kung paano nila yon ipaliwanag yung tinatawag na student recognition, no? Okay, basta sa classroom base yan. Okay. Nakuha mo, kay how
Yes,
yeah. Just prepare your operational definition sa students recognition. Okay. Kasi ang tinutukoy ninyo diyan sa class participation nila, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sa class participation. Right. Yun lang muna. Pati na yung na-observe ni Ma'am Abelio, how are you going to craft the title
To choose the interactive video teaching tools kasi Diyan papasok yung curation is really crucial, di ba? Quickly, how do you plan to really choose the interactive video teaching tools in Filipino? Meron na bang mga site, for example, na pwedeng makapag-curate kayo, or you would still, search for now?
Yes. Since we are into online, there are a lot of videos related to the topic that can support the discussion of the teacher. Primarily, there are may ginamit na kami nung nakaraan nang nag-observe pa lang kami. Gumamit kami ng mga videos wherein talagang nag-catch siya ng attention ng students. Talagang may students na nag-participate sa klase. Wherein sabi namin, kung nagamit ko sa grade 11, pwede siguro magamit ko sa grade 12 kasi nga nag-observe lang ako sa klase nila eh. Pwede siguro, yun yung unang plano namin na sana. Akala ko kasi magkakandak na ng research na kaya nga kinausap ko si Dr. Ambos na sabi namin, sabi ko sa kasama ko, ang gagawa na pala tayo ng research, siguro kausapin mo yung cooperating teacher mo, magkakandak na tayo na gumawa ka na ng pre-test para bigay mo sa students, tapos on the next meeting, apply na natin yung plano natin. Kung talagang effective siya or not. Yun yung sabi namin kasi nga na-apply ko siya sa grade 11. Sabi ko, mukhang effective siya kasi talagang problem kasi yung class participation ng students sa klase. Kaya talagang yun yung pinag-isipan talaga namin kung ano ang gagawin, lalo na ngayon na nasa online kami.
Check na lang Miss Cabalfing, yung curation na lang ng mga video gagamitin in case for implementation
part. Siya talaga sa topic.
Oo. To also add, Dr. Lopez, yun din yung concern ko, yung the videos are, I know it's YouTube-based.
Yes,
YouTube-based siya. So you need to also check the parang ano bang tawag doon, yung consistency at saka ng video kasi it has to be a strategy so dapat siya parang accessible and yung paggawa nun is talagang for that particular topic if ever. Yun lang naman yung concern.
Siguro, ma'am, ay sabihin na natin, dapat malinis na video. Malinis na video. Pang senior high school na video. Alam mo naman, ang buhay teenager ngayon, so magiging maingat sa pagpili kung YouTube-based. Kung baka you might be able to come up an original.
Yeah, that is
better.
What I want. It's better.
Kung original na talagang inyo na production, inyong palabas, at pagkatapos niyan, you have to embed that to your class on a particular lesson on a particular day, so much the better.
That's better.
Lalong maganda. I go for an original na talagang inyo. It's because of the fact na maa-adjust ninyo, maa-angkor, ang congruency, yung tinatawag nating pagkaangkop, the congruency of your self-made video to the lesson, masyadong madali para sa inyo kung ano talaga ang target ninyo. Kasi okay rin yung sa mga YouTube, pero mahirap mo makikita yung congruent. Minsan ma-distract pa yung mga bata. Ang mga commercials ang haba pa. At baka yung mga commercial dyan ay hindi bagay pa naman sa mga batang yun. So baka nandoon pa si Mr. Tanduay, nandoon pa yung paninigarilyo. Ano pa? I do not know because of course YouTube has also its own guidelines. Pero pag-iingat lang. So think of something, kung talagang itutuloy nyo ito, think of something na interactive pero original. Yan. I think that would be the best.
And then, Dr. Pomado, magiging perpetual.
Yeah. And then I agree sa kay Dr. Lopez, do not be overwhelmed sa dami ng inyong variables. Gagamitan lang yun yung maraming variables pag master's degree na kayo o doctorate degree. Action research lang ito. Limit the variables because the lesser the variable, the lighter is your work. We understand your situation kasi po sa second semester, ang dami pang gagawin ninyo. So in fact, I had a conversation or a chat with Ma'am Abelio na pag-iisipan ng mabuti na hindi po masyadong mabigat itong action research ninyo by the second semester. Kasi allowed naman tayo na gumawa ng kunting modification according to Dr. Bilbao. Okay, I do
Yes,
not
sir,
know
I
from
agree.
our I do not know from the end of our DepEd member of the panel. Of the group.
Dr. Ambos, yes, sir.
Congratulations, Kay, and of course the group. Probably we need to choose between interactive video teaching tools and students recognition. Okay, only one we are going to have. But if I'm going to choose between the two, we will have interactive video teaching tools. And we are going to, of course, have the original video, which is contextual, okay, for our students, especially in CPU, so that we will have congruency and consistency and accuracy, of course, of the information and so on. So that's it. If we're going to have that two, ang tagal nun matapos. So talagang mahihirapan kita. So that's it. And of course, we need to modify the title. Madali lang din naman siyang gawin. That's it. Thank you.
And I think, Ma'am Abelio, yung advice ni Dr. Lopez na do not be overwhelmed sa mga variables, this applies to other groups na rin, ha? Okay, if we forgot to mention that a while ago, pero kung itutuloy nyo, hala, sige. That depends sa panyo kung makakaya. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Villanueva.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am Joanne. I agree with Dr. Pomado and Dr. Ambos. Siguro, ang advice ko lang din sa mga presenters po natin, mamili lang tayo ng isang problem, tapos lalapatan lang natin ng isang intervention. Siguro, for example, yung academic performance ba ang kailangan nating i-resolve? At sa tingin natin, yung video teaching tools ang pwedeng makaresolve. So, yun lang muna. So, gawin lang natin siyang simple.
Yes. Very ano na yan. Very simple na guideline. Yes, I agree, Dr. Lopez, prioritization of problems kasi hindi din naman natin masosolve lahat ng problema
Tama
sa
po.
classroom. Okay, thank you, Kay, for that. Next will be the group of Julia and Gabriel from the SPED team, from the SPED majors. Julia and the group of Gab, are you ready?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm gonna share screen.
Okay.
Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes, we can, Gab. I-ano lang siya, presenter's view, please.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Let me introduce to you the topic that we brainstormed yesterday. It is one free pass, a strategy to overcome delayed assignment submission for grade 9 students. This is our problem sensing chart. I would want to call on my group mates, Julia or May, to present this for us. You guys, May.
Julia, are you there? Gab, you may continue.
Okay, so throughout our field study observation last semester, we noticed that most of the students wouldn't pass on time. And when the deadline comes, they would also ask for bargain from the teacher to move their deadline to a longer date. So the direct cause maybe of this problem is the bulk of work of each student has for each subject and the lack of motivation in working on with the said projects, worksheets, or assignments. The problem is the total expectancies from the students are lower than expected. The students can comply with their projects and worksheets and assignments on time. And the direct consequences is at the end of the grading period, the student still has missed projects, worksheets, or homeworks, and they are still bargaining to move out the deadline. For our objective, we wanted to create an intervention that we're going to imply a reward system. And this objective is to make sure that the students would pass on time and limit the bargain of extending the deadlines. The direct consequence is to improve the management skills of the students to avoid procrastination, and it is an advantage to the teacher's part as well. So that with that, we came up with the title, One Free Pass, a strategy to overcome delayed assignment submissions for grade 7 students.
Okay, thank you, Gab. Can you explain to us what do you mean by the one free pass?
So this one free pass is like a buy one, take one method, whereas if the students will submit 5 projects or homeworks consecutively, they would have this one free pass that if ever they have a 6th homework, they would no longer pass that homework because they would either get the highest score already because they already
submitted things on time.
On time, yes.
Okay. Sige. For me, I have no further question. But one thing, my question is, will this be applied to all subjects of the grade 7?
Because I'm working with my cooperating teacher, which she handles social studies. I would want to incorporate this to my social studies grade 7 class. But I'm not sure with my classmates if they also wanted to. For example, Julia is handling music. If she wanted to incorporate this to her music class as well, or May.
Okay, so it will depend on you na lang. Okay, sige. But for me, so far, okay lang.
Ma'am Ai, what major is this? What major?
SPED, sir, but they're teaching in an inclusive. They're teaching in an inclusive classroom na grade 7.
Yes.
So in their class, there are, I think, 2 students with special needs. How many, Julia?
Yeah.
How many, Gab?
Usually, ma'am, there are 2 to 4. But
2 to 4.
4 is LD, ma. They only have LD.
Okay, sige. Grade 7 students, sir, but in that classroom, there are 4 students who are special. How many students are there in grade 7, Gab?
For grade 7, 17, ma'am.
17. Okay, sige. For me, I don't have comments. It's just that the important thing na dapat you remember is the detailed strategy na it has to be applied, it has to be detailed well kasi yung implementation ng strategy ang importante at saka paano ninyo siya, it's more of the implementation and the detailed strategy lang yung importante. So no comment on my side, Dr. Villanueva and Dr. Lopez, Dr. Ambos and Dr. Pomado.
As to me po, kasi crucial din yung mga ganitong usapin no, na regarding homework, taktang arilin, and so on. Siguro, let's just check yung mga existing let's say, rules and regulations in the classroom or policy somehow. Private school po ba ito? Yung kung saan i-implement?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when it comes to the school policy, when it comes to homework or assignment, probably we'll just try to check as well, baka meron tayong violate or something. Para din, lahat is legal in its context. So other than that, I think if wala naman, I think I'm okay with it. Just to specify as mentioned by Ms. Abelio. Dr. Wilmar?
Yung isang concern ko lang yung word delayed kasi parang negative siya in the context of the title.
Yeah, sorry,
Yun lang.
O kwan na lang po siguro.
May positive na a strategy
yes,
to improve,
yes,
assignment
submission.
submissions of
Right.
assignments or something
Correct.
like that.
Mhm. Dr.
Strategy
Pumalo.
to improve submission of assignments.
Okay, I like the title, especially the one free pass. And I think the observation to make it positive instead of the negative connotation of the overcome delayed assignment is much better, no? Kung magiging positive ito. And then tama si Dr. Lopez, yung mga institutional policies have to be considered, okay, as far as the submission of assignments are concerned, no? Pero ito, you are talking, Gabriel, are you talking about the online what is this? You are talking about the online learning, no?
Yes, sir.
As far as the submission of assignment is concerned. Okay? All right. So ilakip lang ninyo iyan sa review of related literature supported by other studies. So much the better kung mayroon man. Kasi po, mayroon namang mga reasons kung bakit. Okay? Kung bakit delayed ang submission of the assignments. However, because of the strategy that you are proposing, there might have an improvement as far as online learning submission of assignments are concerned. Okay. All right. Tama na. Yun lang ang masasabi ko.
Thank you.
Very good title.
Thank you. Everything is noted po. Thank you.
Wilmar, any last thoughts po for this group?
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Virgo, and congratulations to our presenters, Ma'am Gabriel and company. Wala na akong kwan. May comment kasi na-comment na ni na Dr. Pomado, Dr. Abelio, and yung isa nating kasama. Bago ulit itong kwan strategy na ito na napakinggan ko. And I'm so excited for the implementation of this strategy.
Ms. Joanne, thank you, Dr. Wilmar. Before we proceed to the next, may mga nare-receive po kasi akong direct message from our other participants like, let me just read one, no? Good morning. It's a lot of fun to talk about this kind of webinar, which is giving me an idea. First year po kasi itong mga to from our side, I want to inquire pag makasali daw po sila. So sabi ko, for those students who just join in, be an audience right now, take note of all the ideas coming from the presenters, coming from CPU na talagang, di ba, mahuhusay. So I think if you have comments as well, feel free to put them in the chat box para marinig din o mabasa ng ating mga presenters like your appreciation, for example, your agreement on some of the topics or the discussion we are having. Thank you, Ms. Abelio.
Thank you. Dr. Villanueva, hindi po pa ako doktor. Wishing pa lang. Anyway, so thank you, Gab. We will just improve on that. No? So, congratulations. Thank you for doing your assignment. So our next group will be from the class of Dr. Pomado, Ms. Charisse Opeñano and company. So please share your screen.
Let us share. Wait. Presentation. Not sure.
Wait lang ma'am, is our presentation makita na po?
Yes, makita na, but please present it in the presentation view.
Okay pa. Wait lang.
We can see it now.
Title muna.
Charisse? Okay.
Yes.
Who's your group mates? If your in connection will be cut, your group mates can okay.
Yes ma'am. So, good morning everyone. I am Charisse Ayopiniano and I will be the one to present our output for today. So, let me first present to you the 3 gaps or problems that we have identified during our class observations. So, these are the following. The first one is students' low performance and solving mathematical word problems. So our cooperating teacher is actually utilizing the EFDT method, or which stands for explore, firm up, depend, and transfer. So on the transfer part, it is more of usually on a mathematical word problems form. However, the students tend to perform low on this aspect. Second is students' poor class participation during their online classes. And the third one is the students' negative attitude towards learning mathematics. So out of these 3 gaps or identified problems, we have prioritized one problem, which is about the students' low performance in solving mathematical word problems. So for our problem sensing chart, for the direct causes, the first one is lack procedural and strategic knowledge in solving word problems. This specifically refers to the step-by-step process of solving a worded problem. So mostly what is asked, what is given, what is the mathematical sentences. So students tend to have errors on this one because they lack the knowledge for the procedural and strategic way of solving word problems. Another direct causes is the inability to visualize mathematical concepts and transform problems into mathematical sentences. So when it comes to concepts of mathematics, like for example, the basic operations, they can perform the basic operations. However, when it comes to transforming that into a mathematical word problems, they cannot already identify what operations to be used, what is being asked by the problem. So the third direct cause is the inability to connect mathematical concept to its real world application. So for the direct consequences of this problem, of course, the first one, wrong answer of students. Second is they commit multiple errors on the mathematical procedure in solving the word problem. And third is the wrong operation or mathematical sentences used. So for our objective sensing chart, so the objective is to improve the students' skills in solving mathematical word problems. As we all know, solving mathematical word problems is a very beneficial skill for the children or for the students to develop critical thinking and problem solving. This is also essential for them in applying to higher level or higher degree of mathematics in order for them to perform a more complex mathematical process. So for the direct process or the intervention that we want to propose is to utilize a scaffolding strategy as intervention. So this specifically refers to the use of illustrations, modeling, as well as the step-by-step process of solving the problem as scaffold for the learner to have an assistant on how to know or to provide the correct answer for the mathematical word problem. And for the direct consequence, it is to improve performance of students on solving mathematical word problems. And for our proposed title, it is Scaffolding Strategy and the Performance of Grade 7 Students in Solving Mathematical Word Problems. So that would be all, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Charisse. That is a very good presentation, and your objectives and are very, very clear. No, so for me,
Yes.
I'm good.
Same here po. But Ma'am Joanne, I think Dr. Wilmar, because he's into math, probably
Yun,
meron
into
pa
math.
siyang,
Yes,
yeah.
comment.
Ganda yan. Dr. Villanueva.
Okay, thank you very much once again, Sir Virgo. And congrats, Ma'am Openia, no, and company. So at last, nakapag-present na rin ng mathematics. Yung title is good. Very good actually. Kasi simplified na siya. Saka yung hinahanap natin kahapon na yung 15 letters na nandun sa title. So, scaffolding strategy. Siguro dun sa part ng discussion ng intervention, kailangan mo lang sabihin kung ano yung mga strategy na gagawin mo para dun sa pag-represent mo ng iyong lesson.
Yes.
Solving mathematical word problems. Grade 7. In every quarter, meron kasing word problems yan, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so...
On the transfer and application part of the lesson.
Okay, okay. So yun lang, wala na akong ma-say, Ma'am Joanne. Sabi ko nga sa sarili ko kanina, parang Sir Virgo, manggagaling yata dito sa Iloilo ang top notcher nyo next year na
Hoy, last, we have 2.
Ayan, ma'am.
CBRC din na, na
anticipated
review.
na po yan.
Hindi ko lang maisip kung saan talaga nang gagaling yung itong mga pre-present ng mga estudyante. Parang ang swerte ng DepEd Iloilo talaga pag itong mga estudyanteng to i-hire ng DepEd Iloilo. Kasi estudyante pa lang sila, talagang na hanep na yung kanilang mga naiisip na mga intervention. Ito yung mga hinahanap namin na teachers talaga. Congratulations po.
Thank you, Charisse and group. That was a very
Ma'am
good
Amelio.
presentation. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Charisse, I like the title, and it seems that this will be a correlational study, right? Because you want to correlate the strategy to the performance of the students.
Yes, sir.
Am I right, Dr. Villanueva? Parang ganon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. It's because of the fact you mentioned that you did a gap analysis and intellectual analysis. By using that gap analysis, you were able to choose what is the best for you. Okay. And you were able to decide later that you have to go with this particular study from among the different gaps that you have identified. So congratulations for the step-by-step procedure that you did until the two of you have decided to have this kind of topic based from the different gaps that you have identified. So you have considered, I know that through your intellectual analysis and gap analysis, you were able to decide later, decide at the end that this is the most important that you have to undergo as far as your action research is concerned. And you are entitled to that choice. Congratulations, Charisse and company. Who is your partner?
Miss Angeli Babayan, sir. We
Okay,
are
yes,
under the
Miss
same
Babayan.
faculty.
Okay. Congratulations to Charisse and Miss Babayan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Joanne?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just one last point po, no. One good thing about the presentation of Ms. Opiniano, yung kanilang problem sensing and objective sensing is actually a good outline already for them to as a basis for their actual manuscript.
Rational and context. Oo.
Right.
May framework na sila.
Tama po. So I hope the other groups would really develop their problem sensing and objective sensing as simple as direct as that, so that it will be easier for you to be guided when you write actually your manuscript. Congratulations.
Sir Virgo, ang talagang I would like to associate talaga yung performance ng ating mga presenters. Hearing from Dr. Pumado, Dr. Abelio, and Dr. Abos, syempre, ang gagaling nila. They will produce talaga naman bright and intelligent learners, students.
And good news po, Miss Abelio, we have already planned. Miss Jury is here, our associate managing editor of the MAESTRA Professional Journal. We are coming up with a research colloquium by mid-year for 2022. That's why I was asking earlier about when would you finish it po, Miss Jo.
Yay! Yes, that will be a very, very good venue kasi professional yung dating.
And
For
sila
our
po,
students.
they
And
are the
sila.
pioneers. They will be the pioneers.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So thank you for that, Dr. Lopez. So thank you, Charis and Ms. Babayan on. So we'll proceed with the group of Miss Tracy, Ables, and team. Thank you.
Thank you,
Tracy,
ma'am.
what's your major?
Science, ma'am. I'm
Science.
under Sir Pumado.
Okay, sige. Thank you. You may now share your screen.
Nakikita na po ba ang screen ko?
Nakaano lang siya. Has started screen sharing.
Baka delayed lang ng konti.
Delayed lang.
I-inform na lang po ako pag naka-fully loaded na po ang ano.
Wala pa.
Trace, gusto mo ako mag-present, Trace?
Sige, Tin. Ikaw na lang, Tin.
Para yung connection mo okay. Sige. Wait lang.
Ayun. Okay na.
Okay na siya.
Nawala. Christine, you'll be the one to present.
Sige, ma'am. Wait lang.
I think the connection of Tracy is lower. Ayun. Okay. Put it in presenters mode.
Okay. So, thank you, Tin. Good morning, everyone. This action research is proposed by us, Tracy Ann Ables, Mary Ann Bartola, and Maria Christine De Los Santos. So, for our problem sensing chart, okay, for the direct causes, based on our observation in our field study, there's a lack of interesting activities in the class, lack of diversity in the instructional materials used, and of course, in an online setting where students are not closely monitored by their teachers, there's a high possibility that they will be tempted to use their gadgets to play games and use social media during the class discussion. And this may result in the problem, which is the lack of motivation to study academically. And this problem will lead to the direct consequence of low academic performance. The students are less interactive in the class, and of course, absenteeism and tardiness. For our objective sensing chart, we have this intervention creating. We will create game-based learning activities. We can use online game-based activities using other apps like Kahoot, Quizzes, Flippity, and other softwares. And this intervention have an objective to increase self-motivation and interest of students in learning, and of course, mitigate students' absenteeism. And for the direct consequence, it will help improve the students' academic performance. And our proposed title is a game-based learning approach to increase students' motivation in learning grade 8 science at Central Philippine University. Thank you. That would be all.
Thank you, Tracy. Learning grade. Sige. A game-based learning approach to increase students' motivation. Siguro wala na in learning. To increase, kasi learning ka na dun sa taas. Tas may learning naman ulit. So, a game-based learning approach to increase student motivation in grade 8 science at CPU. Parang ganon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Noted, ma'am.
Pwede rin Ma'am Abelio to make it shorter hanggang motivation lang. Doon na lang nila i-discuss sa loob. Sa delimitations of the study, pwede rin siguro. Okay. I don't know. That's my idea, Dr. Lopez. Doon na lang sa discussion sa loob, i-explain na lang sa scope and the limitations of the study.
Yes po, but the one in the DepEd po as presented po ni Dr. Villanueva yesterday. Dr. Villanueva, can you respond po?
Scope sa title.
Oo.
Yeah. Siguro until the grade 8 science class po would do.
Oo.
Wala ng CPU, pwede din.
Yes po, basta yung grade level and then the subject.
Oo. Grade 8 science, pwede rin.
Yeah, pwede.
Dr. Wilmar?
Miss Ables, doon kanina sa consequence, please i-show muna yung slide mo sa consequence. Dito, yan. Kung academic performance doon sa consequence, doon sa title mo, motivation.
Okay. Yes, sir. We will just...
Align na lang.
We'll just...
Dapat align sila.
Okay.
Yun ang kita ko.
Doc Pomado, maybe we
Yes.
can say na lang siguro, balik tayo dun sa title. Game-based learning approach, improve performance of grade 8 in science para makover niya ang academic at the same time yung students' motivation.
Yes,
Para
yes.
magiging mixed method yung gagamitin nilang Hindi lang siya nakafocus sa motivation, but of course they will see to it how this game-based learning will affect the performance academically.
Tama. Doc Villanueva, tama.
Did you take note, Tracy? There's a
Yes.
recommendation in the change in title. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Tanggalin na rin yung A doon sa taas niya. Direct agad doon
sir.
sa intervention. Game.
Okay, game-based learning approach.
Ano nga yun, Doc Villanueva? Game-based learning approach.
Right, sir.
Did you remember?
Game-based learning approach.
An improvement to students' academic performance in, I think, yun po ang sabi.
An improvement in grade 8 science, something like that.
An improvement.
Improvement.
Improvement in
Game-based learning approach, improve the performance in grade 8 science.
Improving performance in grade 8 science. Yeah.
Wala na po yung academic, Dr. Villanueva, no?
Wala na. Para doon sa loob,
General.
sabihin na lang nila academic at saka yung
Motivation. Quality siya. Okay. Tapos again, Dr. Lopez, I'd like to also reiterate yung detailed ng what is that game-based learning approach. Important kasi yon yung very detailed strategy.
Tapos kung magiging creative pa po yung word nila para ma-own po nila yung strategy later on, that would be best. Who's editing? Who's editing the slide?
Christine, are you the one editing?
Okay. I'll type
I-edit na lang po siguro namin, ma'am, after na siguro, ma'am.
Yes, oo.
Si Tracy po, tsaka ako po yung nag-edit.
Sige, just take note about that.
Okay po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay, sige.
Ano
Thank you.
ano yun, ma'am? Ay ipasok yung salitang improving.
Sino nag-edit?
This one po.
Improving students' performance of grade 8 science.
Or in grade 8 science.
Improve. Did you copy? Are you editing or slow lang internet niyo?
Slow siguro internet, ma.
Okay, sige. Oh, don't worry.
Later
Sige.
na lang, ma'am. I-take note naman ako.
Okay, sige. So, thank you, Tracy and Christine. No, please take note of the suggestion so that when you write your manuscript, talagang mai-improve na siya. Sir Dr. Villanueva, meron po kayong comment? You're raising your hand. Or was that earlier?
Kanina po yun, ma'am.
Okay, sige po. Sige. Thank you, Miss Tracy and Miss Christine. Thank you. Congratulations, no? Our next presenter, ay sasabihin ko sana performers. Next presenters are the group of Miss Montefrio. You may want to share your screen, Patricia.
Jella May, ma'am.
Ay, sorry. Yes, Jella, you will be the one to help them present and Patricia will discuss. Okay. You may now start, Patricia.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mercy Toledano. Ma'am and sir, can I just off my camera due to poor internet connection?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. After we conduct a class observation, we observe. This is the problem we observed during our field study 1. We came up with this problem sensing chart. The direct causes are the low spelling ability of students caused by the following: lack of exposure to printed words that adversely influence their spelling, poor visual memory for the sequences of letters and words, very common abbreviations were used by the students, uninteresting activities in learning English, the students' low motivation in learning, the time of teaching English is very limited. The problem: students have difficulty in spelling the English word. The direct consequences: the errors in spelling were evident in the written work of the students. There could have been effect also in their pronunciation and also understanding of other people in their written work. Objective sensing chart, the direct causes or interventions, the use of word game technique called pick the word as aid for learners' spelling skills. Objectives: this study aims to improve the learner's speaking skills through use of word game techniques called pick the word. Specifically, this student seeks to meet this objective: to determine the learner's score in spelling test before the use of pick the word, to determine the learner's score in spelling test after the use of pick the word, to determine the significant difference between the learner's score in spelling tests given before and after the use of pick the word, to give actions to be taken after the conduct of the study. Direct consequences: improve the spelling skills of the students. So we come up with a title, Pick the Word, an Aid for Grade 10 Learners' Spelling Skills.
Picture game is a picture word is a simple yet addictive guessing game that has reading pictures and combining what one read to solve word puzzles. For example, once you see an image of sand followed by an image of witch, you get sandwich. Picture word is made by Co-ops, a settled-based studio with a branch of Filipino developers in Makati town. Pictoword contains numerous classes of puzzles rather than levels. They are called theme packs. Some of the classes are brands, movies, celebrities, characters, TV shows, etc. Pictoword is something that can be played by both adults and kids alike because it is the game that is fun enough as well as awesome enough for all ages to enjoy to the maximum and back. Puzzle or crossword game
will help students to enhance their performance in learning spelling. For example, grade 10 spelling words is handwriting. For selecting respondents, first give pre-test to learners of 3 sections. Learners with same pre-test scores and same sex will be chosen from each section will compose one set. All learners will be exposed to the intervention Pictoword, and after 6 sessions of introduction intervention, post-test will be given. Scores of the identified learner respondents will be tallied and statistically analyzed. Next is for Pictoword application. This study will make use of word game technique known as Pictoword to come up with the words to be concluded in the study. First, the researcher will randomly select grade 10 vocabulary words coming from online English test resources. Second, the researcher will create pictures that could tell one of or 2 words that could form the whole word. Third, let the learners pronounce correctly the word meant by the picture. Fourth, let the students spell the word by looking on the picture. And fifth, reveal the correct spelling to the learners from them to check their answers. Pictoword game. This proposed word game technique aims to make learners...
Trisha, excuse me. You don't need to read that because you already explained what the Pictoword is. So we just wanted to know the objectives and the problem sensing. But at least I'm very happy that you already detailed your strategy. So what's the title? Let's go back to your title. So that is a very good indication that the detailed strategy, yes, according to Dr. Lopez. Okay, so for me, I really appreciate the part that you already have a methodology and a strategy detailed on the side so that it will come out easier. No? So for the rest of the students here, mas maganda na you already have something in mind kasi it's easier to lay down the things in the manuscript if you already know. So I also like the idea na you use there's an app for that na I think that is a very catchy title na ginamit niyo as a strategy for spelling. So for me, I have no comment. So ang question ko lang, you will be the one to come up with the pictures and the words, no? So you will have an original pictures and words na ika-come up for it to be used in class.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sige. Thank you. Dr. Villanueva, Dr. Pomado, Dr. Ambos.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ma'am Ai. Sige, Dr. Villanueva muna. Sino mauna?
Okay,
Okay.
Sir, pwedeng ako muna kasi mag-brown out daw kami mamaya.
Sige,
It's okay, sir.
Tama po yung sinabi ni Ma'am Joanne. Yung presentation ni Nina Patricia and the rest of her team is maganda. Hindi na natin ma-question kung ano yung kanilang intervention, right? Kasi yun nga yung na-trace nilang problem doon sa kanilang. Kahit kung titignan natin, hindi na siya sana dapat pang grade 10. Kasi dapat hindi na natin problem yan sa grade 10. Pero yun pala, nakita nila problem pa rin pala. So, let us try to find out later kung itong intervention na gagawin nila is effective to address that particular issue. So, congratulations, Patricia and the rest of the team. Ayun lang, ang suggestion ko lang, siguro mas maganda naman, kayo yung gagawa ng mga picto
Yes.
word at hindi siya lifted coming from mga
Sources.
Google. Dapat kayo mismo para mas okay.
Miss Joanne and Dr. Wilmar, thank you. Can we have maybe first acknowledge the presence of our publisher and of course the president and CEO of Dr. Carl Balita Review Center, no less than Dr. Carl Balita is joining us right now to deliver just an inspirational message to everyone. Dr. Carl, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Doc Carl.
Good morning. Hi. Yeah, congratulations to all the attendees of the Action Research conference here. I'm one person who is a lover and a believer of research. As a matter of fact, what I will advance in government is the evidence-based governance and policies. I have always questioned the evidence basis of many policies, the science behind every policy. So, as as a future public servant, my interest is always on research, and the action research we're doing in the classroom is the same action research I may want to see in governance. As you can see, it's the same process. It's the same evidence we're looking at and we're finding, so that we can be more efficient in what we do and in everything we do. Please continue to be advocates of research, and please continue to be lovers of research, because unless we do it that way, we will just be operating on opinion and on gut feel, which are not have no scientific basis. So I'm one with you. Action research, excuse me. Yun ang ibig sabihin. Yeah. I would like to assert that as people of science and as people of evidence, the best thing that we can do, in fact, is to advocate for it. Let's not just do it for the sake of doing it. Let's do it for the sake of using it and navigating on it and becoming better in it. So, in whatever you do, the beauty of action research is not only to say you know it, not only to say you can do it, but to actually do it and make sure that our in everything we do there is the value of evidence. Yeah, I'm here in Iloilo right now. I'm in the middle of a campaign sortie, and hi, and please help me. There's only one teacher running. There's only one doctor of education running, and I need every teacher to rally behind me, to believe in the cause of education. And I need your help. Help me. Because if you don't find a candidate like your candidate every time. So you might want to capitalize on it. Thank you so much. Congratulations, everyone. Maraming salamat.
Keep safe, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you, Ms. John. Back to you. Thank you so much for paying attention to the quick message of our publisher of the MAESTRA Professional Journal and our president and CEO. Ms. John, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lopez. Just going back to the presentation. Yes, sir.
Okay. Congratulations to the presenter, no? A very good title also.
Yeah.
Siguro suggestion ko lang, look for another term para sa aid. Medyo mababa siya na terminolohiya para sa research. Baka financial aid, baka pantawid pampamilya aid. So look for other term na medyo catchy siya, ha? Yung makatawag pansin na salita. Support or whatever. You look for an appropriate at saka yung attention getting sa halip ng aid. Baka band-aid.
Yeah. And remember, grade 10 na siya. So,
grade 10 na siya.
Grade 10, no problems in spelling already. Pero that was a very good observations na even at grade 10, students are still find spelling hard.
Pero yung tick to word na yon, yung tick to word, i-ano ninyo kung, well, if that is the problem you have identified, look for a literature that would really support na parang applicable pa siya sa grade 10. Oo. At bagay na bagay sa grade 10. Yung observation ba ni Sir Villanueva kanina, surprise yan na grade 10 na and then mag-pick to word pa or whatever. So just study a lot of or do a lot of readings as far as the use of pick to word is concerned. Kung mayroong mga literature na applicable pa rin para sa mga ganon, okay. Consider also the grade level of your study. What I mean is, i-ano ninyo at pag-isipan, is the use of that strategy still applicable ba o ano? Well, if there are a lot of studies that support that na ginagawa rin kahit sa ganung grado, it's okay. All right. Thank you, Ma'am Ai.
Thank
Okay,
you,
very
sir.
good.
Dr. Villanueva, are you raising your hand or was that before?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am Joanne, kwan lang, mayroon lang akong isasuggest doon sa title nila. Instead of using grade 10, siguro we can also use yung key stage 3 which refers to grade 10 rin para mabago lang siya. Key stage 3.
Yes. Stage 3, Okay. Thank you, sir. Dr. Ambos?
Yes, ma'am. I do agree with, of course, the year level or the grade level. Probably mag-change pa na siya. Okay, so if supposing they will be assigned in grade 7, okay, in their practice teaching, they can, of course, conduct it there. So, but meanwhile, of course, we can use, of course, grade, the suggested term for grade.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Patricia and team. No, the detailed strategy was very much appreciated. Next, we have there's a comment in the chat box na good day from Miss Palangdao. I am overwhelmed with all the presentations. I've learned a lot. Thank you. We are also learning ourselves. So our next presenters are the group of Miss Tumagan. So you may want to start sharing. After Miss Tumagan is the group of Miss Behente.
Okay, once again, everyone, good morning, everybody. To those who are with us today, good morning. To all the doctors who are supervising us or helping us, rather, and to as well as the participants. So, okay, so let's start with our title page, which is the action research idea. So this was the result of our brainstorming session yesterday. So next slide, please. By the way, I am together with Ms. Suyo. She is my partner in the conduct of the action research. So we have here the overview of the identified problems. So we identified 3 problems, which we will discuss further or just elaborate further in the next slide. So just a context, according to Dr. Wilmer, so action research ideas or topics should be based on what you have read, what you have observed, and what you have experienced. On our case, it is based on the first-hand experience with teaching assistantship. We actually handled live classes with the senior high school students for 2 consecutive days. Excuse me, okay, and also with observation, but not just that. This was also from the input of our cooperating teachers. We are actually having a feedback gathering and giving once in a while if she has time. So we could really assess her class, her teaching pedagogies. So all of these are based on experiences, what we observe, and the input from our cooperating teachers. So Ms. Suyo will be the one to present the next slides, or using the problem sensing chart rather. So Ms. Suyo, please.
All right. Hello, good morning, everyone. So as Ms. Christine have mentioned, we have identified problems, and these are as follows. So first, the students' poor participation level. Second is the unsatisfactory written outputs of the students. And third is the unstable connectivity or unstable internet connectivity. For the problem sensing chart, the first problem that we have is the students' poor level of participation. And the direct causes of this are first, students are mostly preoccupied in a way that students have the choice to turn their cameras on or off and mute themselves. So they have sometimes students are just really doing some stuff, like for example, they're doing activities from other subjects. Second, students are uninterested or just unmotivated to listen and to learn. Third, shyness, even in face-to-face classes. Some students are just shy to stand up and talk in front of the class. Fourth is unpreparedness, and fifth is poor verbal skills. So poor verbal skills is quite associated with shyness because some students are just too shy or just too worried that they might be judged or they might be the laughing stock of the class because they committed like a little mistake in grammar. So for the direct consequences of this problem, first, passiveness in the learning process, and of course, lack of feedback from students. So with that, teachers couldn't assess or couldn't know if the students really understood the lesson well. Next is the unsatisfactory written outputs. So the direct causes of this is the complacent attitude of the students. So we have students have this kind of thinking na bahala na basta may mapas. So that's a negative kind of thinking of the students wherein they just pass their work without even counter checking the quality of their work. And of course, the poor writing skills, students doesn't really use their critical thinking skills and they only rely on internet and like just copy paste everything and then pass it. Of course, the direct consequences of this is the gap in the set standards by the teacher, and it will also affect their low score. So teachers provide scoring guides or scoring rubrics, and if the students just copy pasted everything from the internet, of course, it will not meet the standards of the teacher, and of course, it will affect their scores. Third is the unstable connectivity. The direct causes of this is the location. Of course, there are provinces or places that the internet just comes and go. The chosen service provider also can affect this, but there are also circumstances like this, like the weather right now, that it would affect the quality or the speed of the internet. And of course, lack of the resources. It is quite sad to know that there are students who have really hard time in doing online classes because they don't have resources. They only be using phone because they have no laptops and gadgets to continue online classes. The direct consequences of this is the absences, and of course, it can affect or hinders the students' participation. So there are times that students are actually in the middle of presenting in a Zoom meeting, and then suddenly makat off ang internet, so it will affect their participation in class. And of course, the communication barrier. Communication between students to students, like when they are working in pairs or groups, and of course, the communication between the teacher and the students. Now let us have back Miss Christine to discuss our identified problems further.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Suya. So we have here again the overview of the identified problems. So, of course, we have to choose the focus problem here. So we have the criteria like relevance. According to Sir Pomado during the consultation, he actually added, so we have to choose it according to relevance, doability, urgency, importance, and even the magnitude or the scope involved in the study. So here, I just would like to discuss a little bit about the identified problem. So, number 3, the unstable connectivity or internet connection. Wait.
You may want to continue, Kyle.
No, it's okay, ma'am. We just have a little bit problem here. Okay, so going back, number 3, we have here unstable connectivity. So we, unless we're millionaires, we could actually provide them with a better connection. And considering here in the Philippines, we actually encounter connectivity or connectivity issues or interconnections. Number 2, this is actually from what I have said earlier. It is from the input from our cooperating teacher. She actually encounters a lot of mema or mema sabi, mema type lang, mema submit lang ng mga written outputs. And here, I would like to add that she actually implemented a intervention strategy, so we could not really focus here in this problem. She actually used a pre-writing strategy wherein each pre-writing activities are graded according to the rubric she made in order to ensure rather the quality of written outputs, and it is used by students in their final draft of their outputs. So we are left with the student poor participation level. So we could all agree that this is all relevant, this is all significant or important rather. However, let's focus on the doability given that we have a not really a long time frame to conduct this action research. So we're left with the students poor participation level rather here. And in the introduction of the online classes, there's a not just really but the increase in challenge in counter or what addressing rather the participation level. So we witnessed the struggle on the side of our teacher on the participation level, particularly when just reading a certain slide, no one would really volunteer. So here, next slide, please, Miss Sarah. So we have, Miss Sarah, okay, thank you. We have here the objective sensing chart. So our focus objective here is to increase students' level of participation in synchronous classes. So our intervention here is the group token system strategy. It may be similar rather to Dalen's reward system. So but the difference here is that we have not really defined the token system like the backup reinforcers. We will need necessary data for that in order to frame the study here. So a group, because we observe that during group activities, students are more collaborative, they're more interactive when they're working together with other students. And also, the direct consequences here is the increased level of participation, not just in participation, in engagement with the materials given to them, engagement in the class as a whole, and lastly, collaboration of students in the class. So that's all we have here, the proposed title. Miss Sarah, please, next slide. So here, let me explain why we chose token system. Because during our observation and field study or the teaching assistantship, we observed that a lot of students are willingly volunteer willingly volunteer when they know they have something to get out from their efforts, out from their cooperation or participation. So it is reinforcer of desired behaviors, and they can keep students motivated intrinsically, maybe. And lastly, it is doable. It is on our part, it is the most doable problem that we could address in the meantime. Okay, next slide is our title. So we have here the implementation of group token system strategy, increasing participation level of senior high school students. I would just like to elaborate why we did not specify the grade level, because there are potential changes on our schedules and class handled by our cooperating teacher, because she does not have any advisory classes. So we will update that title later on. Okay, and that would be all. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so sorry for that problem earlier. Thank you, and that's a wrap. Thank you for listening, everyone. We would like
Thank you,
to, yes,
Christine.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you go back to your title, please? Kyle? Okay. I'm suggesting to delete the implementation of, I'm suggesting group walang ED.
Okay, ma'am.
Group token system, wala nang strategy, because when you say system and strategy, it's the same, redundant na siya. So group token strategy or group token system in increasing participation, wala nang level and wala nang of. In increasing participation of senior high school students. Online, would you like to specify in increasing online participation of senior high school students?
Based on the
Or I don't know.
consultation. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the suggestion. I would like to answer a question. Based on our consultation with Sir Pomado, it is actually a gap analysis. So we would like to increase it in a certain level, or desired level of participation. So that's why we use increased participation level. It is a gap analysis. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So I'm suggesting group token system in increasing participation among senior high school students. I don't know. That's just my comment, Sir Dr. Pomado.
Oo.
Increasing the level of
And then,
participation, I don't
oo.
know.
And then siguro, Ma'am Ai, should they pursue for the participation, they should be ready to discuss explicitly in their discussion kung ano yung tinatawag nilang participation, no?
Specify.
Class,
and
class discussion o ano, bahala na sila mag-define sa kanilang operational definition. Kasi I would like to give this input also to the group. Participation napaka-broad niya.
Oo.
Pwede na nagpa-participate ako dahil nag-comply ako sa requirement. Yan. So ano ba? Ang sa recitation ba ang tinutukoy ninyo? That depends upon you kung paano nyo i-define yon. But still, it could stay as is na participation. Depende na lang yon sa pag-define nyo. Operational definition of the term is the most important. No? So kunin na lang yung suggestion ni Ma'am Abelio na implementation of. I-edit na lang ninyo yan. Ha? Group. Walang ED na siya. Okay. Group token system. And then one thing I like with the group also is that the same with the other group kanina na gumawa sila ng kanilang gap analysis. They have identified several problems and they have decided choosing one of the three. No? One of the three. Based from the criteria that they mentioned about doability, about timeliness, what is this? Napakarami pang nabanggit nila kanina. That's a good technique also.
Yeah.
A good exercise done by the group as far as problem identification is concerned through the inputs of their cooperating teacher. And that I appreciate, or I would like to commend the group for that method.
Yeah.
Use in identifying the problem. Thank you.
So I think you've taken notes of the suggestions. Sir Dr. Ambos, do you have comment? Si Dr. Villanueva na off siya. So we will just send him the PowerPoints daw for comments kasi may brown out sa kanila.
And then, Ma'am Ai, siguro, read further kung anong maganda dyan, improving participation or increasing. Yan. Anong pinaka-angkop? What is the most fitting word to use there?
Kasi you will also think on how you're going to measure How are you going to measure participation? Will it be...
Yes, i-measure pa ninyo yan eh. Look for some other studies na ginawa nila ang measurement ng participation, kung paano nila minisure, then you can follow the term use.
Strategy.
Ma'am Ai?
Yes, sir?
Probably they can edit the title. Like for example, group token system : increasing the participation level of senior high school students.
Yes, pwede man. Yes. I hope you got all the suggestions. With the
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Miss. May additional pa, sir?
Ma-refine lang nasa ulihi
Yeah.
But for the meantime, ang suggested nga na i-ano lang nyo i-note down.
Yeah. Sige. Thank you, Miss Christine. Our next group is the group of Miss Wen Ricaforte. Please share your slides lang, Miss Wen. Thank you, Christine, and your group. Just click the presentation mode. Okay, when you can start.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I am Wen Erico Forte, a representative from our group with Cristela Delano and Sin Rose Huyumpa. And today I am tasked to discuss to you our output from the task we were left at yesterday. So here, first and foremost, we have here the three problems we have observed in class. So first, the students' low performance in physics, specifically in the application involving calculations. Second, the students' poor class participation during online classes. And the third one is the students' tardiness in online classes. So even if it is held online, there are still problems wherein students came in late, almost half of the discussions, they are absent. So after the gap analysis and taking other considerations at hand, so among these three observed problems, our group chooses the first one, the students' low performance in physics, specifically in application involving calculations, because we believe this one is the most prevalent among the three. For our problem sensing chart, it has been identified that the problem was due to the difficulty of students in understanding abstract concepts in physics, such as gravity, forces, energy, and etc. And also the inability of the students to relate these concepts, these abstract concepts, with real-world applications involving calculations or its application in problem solving. So with these causes, it has led to students' low performance in physics involving problem-solving calculations. Thus, it has resulted to the incorrect answer of students, incorrect final answers of the students when it comes to the problem-solving situations, and also the inability of the students, to translate this learning in the real-world setting or on its application. Okay, for our objective sensing chart, we have here for our intervention, we will utilize technology supported inquiry-based learning. This is through the question-driven discussion that leads students to generate hypotheses or designing investigations, collect and analyze data to resolve the questions given earlier with the assistance of technology tools, such as with the use of meaningful softwares and programs, available programs at hand, which should be of use with the help of these software. Okay, for our objective, this is to improve students' academic performance in physics involving calculations. We believe this will result to improve performance of students in physics, most especially on the application of concepts through calculations. So with all these, we have here our proposed title, The Effectiveness of Technology-Supported Inquiry-Based Learning in Teaching Grade 9 Physics. If you would allow us, ma'am, we also have prepared an objective for this research title. So this study aims to determine the effectiveness of conducting technology-supported inquiry-based learning in teaching physics. So specifically, it will answer the following. First, what is the performance of the two groups of respondents in the pretest? These are the control group and the experimental group. Second, what is the performance of the two groups, the control group and experimental group of respondents in the post-test? Third one, is there a significant difference between the pre-test scores of the control and experimental group? And fourth, is there a significant difference between the post-test scores of the control group and the experimental group? And the fifth one, is there a significant difference between the pre-test and the post-test scores of the control and experimental group? So that would be all, ma'ams and sirs.
Thank you, Wen. Can you please go back to your your objectives are very clear because we can already see that you wanted an experimental research design with the choices of the control group. Would like to point out that you use Arabic numbers, not Roman numbers, in your title, as it was given to us as instruction by Dr. Villanueva. You use Arabic instead of the Roman numerals. So it's grade 11, number 11 in Arabic. So effectiveness, for me, sorry, grade 9. So for me, I don't have any question. It's just that your technology support inquiry-based learning should also be specific and detailed on what is that. And if you could also rename that to own it, it will also be good. I know that it's still in the process, but while you are doing that technology-based, base a name will come out of that. Yes. So you might want to name it as when technology, something like that. I know that it's a technology supported inquiry based learning, but it would be great if you could also name that. What is that? To own, no? Diba? As what Dr. Villanueva also suggested, or Project When, or something like that. No? Or with your group, you can name that. Okay, as you go along with your research and with your inquiry, you can probably pick up a very good name of that technology supported inquiry based learning. No?
Yes, ma'am. We will have that in mind now. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am,
yes, sir.
With this proposal, which is to me is experimental, the group has to take into consideration the time element, their speed, also in working out the study, that it can be completed at the earliest possible time, depending on the scheduled graduation that they would like to attend. Okay. Alam naman ninyo kung gaano ka medyo ang experimental, ano? Mag-pre-test pa kayo at post-test. Pero this is a nice study, a very challenging study, you know. I commend the group for thinking of this experimental study, kasi physics naman at saka science, but I like this experimental, pero i-take into account ninyo ang inyong time frame, that this has to be completed at the end of the second semester. Yung speed ninyo lang ang importante pa rin i-considera, i-take into consideration. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yun
We
lang.
will have that noted.
As far as the proposal is concerned, go na go ako dyan. The challenge now depends on your hands. Okay? The challenge now is with you. Alam naman niyo kung ano ang experimental study. But this is, so far, from all the groups kanina, sila pa lang ang nakapresent ng experimental, Ma'am Ai, right?
Yes, yes. And I commend
Very
them.
good.
It's more of planning. Planning
Yeah,
lang.
alright. Pero very challenging siya. Very nice. Parang pang master's thesis na. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because when you do experimental design, you should know that the control group and the experimental group are somehow the same in terms of respondents. No, may pairing kamo na dan I consider. No, so the age should be so if this will be in Central Philippine University, I think maka-pair man kamo. Kaya there are a lot man of sections in the CPU senior high or junior high gali. Yung CPU junior high. Okay, Wen, thank you. No, for that.
Thank
Sir
you so
Ambros,
much,
do you
Ma'am
have
Cici.
comment?
Wala na ma'am, actually
Oo.
kaya yan, hindi yan sila natutulog.
Oo. Yes, so this will be very interesting because I know that everyone is also interested in their topic. So thank you, Wen and group.
Thank you, ma'am.
We proceed with Miss Vehentes, then with Miss Padilla and the group of Jisan Sumugat. So, sige. So, we can be fast na. Okay, you may proceed.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I am Dayan Ashley Behante, the representative of this group, together with Ephraim Chomo and Jesre Estoquia. So problem sensing chart, direct causes students' development and math anxiety that interferes with their math performance. The main problem is students' low academic performance and poor classroom engagement on mathematics. The direct consequences is students don't participate during class discussion, low scores during exams. So these students are scared to provide wrong answer in Zoom meeting or in Google Meet. So the next is objective sensing chart. Direct causes or the intervention is utilize digital game-based learning applications such as Kahoot. So Kahoot is para siyang games na ang mga student is pauna-una kung sino maka-answer ng tamang question. Then after that, pwede ka magbigay ng feedback. And the objective is to improve students' academic performance and classroom engagement on mathematics. Their consequence, improve academic performance and increase classroom engagement on math class. So our proposed title is Kahoot and Improving Performance and Engagement of Grade 10 Mathematics Students in CPU. And that will be all.
Thank you, Miss Vihente, Dayan.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, the variables, no? So I'd like to point out na you need to choose between performance or engagement, or what is the main variable that you would like to include. So I also suggest na Kahoot is an online, what is that? It's an online app? It's an app? Or is it a
Yes.
software?
Yes, ma'am. It's an application. It's a digital game-based learning application. Now you can find online for free. This is actually in our
Yeah, continue.
I am observing grade 8 mathematics, ma'am. And one time, ma'am, our teacher used also a game-based learning app, which is similar to Kahoot. And I have seen that usually, if walang game-based learning app, ang magpa-participate na students ay mga 3 or 5 lang. Pero pag gumamit ka ng game-based application, yung nagpa-participate is 20 plus students na. So, gusto namin i-apply siya, ma'am, sa grade 10 math students.
So I think your title will be the use of Kahoot to improve performance of grade 10 mathematics students in CPU.
Sana lang isang variable na lang,
One
performance
variable,
na lang.
performance na lang, kay para your engagement plus your academic performance can be used. So we will still revise that, pero ang suggestion ko is the use of Kahoot to improve performance of grade 10 mathematics students. Or grade 10 math na lang, wala na students. of grade 10 math.
Okay, ma'am. Noted po.
Gets mo siya? The use of Kahoot to improve performance of grade 10 math.
Noted, ma'am.
Any suggestions, sir?
Or of grade 10 students in math.
Of grade 10 students in math, yes.
Grade 10 students in math. Ano to siling niya? What did they say about the Kahoot? Is it an app? Ano yan? Method? Strategy?
App siya, sir. It's an online game.
Okay.
Or Kahoot application to improve that. That's just my concern. The Kahoot apps. Kahoot apps
Kahoot
to improve.
apps or Kahoot strategy or apps, ano na?
Yeah. So you
Agad na siguro, ma'am, ay amunang hambal ko naman basta ang related studies gidira ang iyaman na effectiveness kung used by other people in the researches that they have conducted. Kung may ara na mga studies na naka-use sang Kahoot nga ini in mathematics.
Okay. Sige, sir. Dr. Lopez suggested.
That not only here in the Philippines, pero kung sa abroad, that still be considered. Thank you.
Okay. So Dr. Lopez also commented in the chat box na I think it is standalone po since Kahoot is already known part na lang ng contextualization sa concept. So Kahoot to improve performance in grade 10 students in math. I think that's the right title. Kahoot to improve performance of grade 10 students in math. Because Kahoot is already an understood terminology in the online platform. Okay.
Very nice mga choice ninyo ng mga kwana. Very nice.
Yeah.
Something new.
Yeah.
Mga bago.
Yeah. I also appreciate the fact that our students really took time to do their assignment yesterday. In the yesterday's assignment. Dr. Ambos?
Okay na siya, ma'am.
Okay na, sige. Thank you.
Studies regarding Kahoot, we're going to see the net. Damo siya. So, probably i-improve it siya based on, according to Dr. Lopez, sa right apps and so on.
Ang dason na class, ang group sinino, ang dira gid kamo focus sa related literature nga mga studies conducted already in relation sa Kahoot nga ini.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, the group of Dayan. So we now proceed.
Thank you, ma'am.
We now proceed to the group of Miss Padilla.
Okay, mama, share screen lang.
And the group of Jisan, please prepare. You will be next.
Everyone. I just turned off my camera, ma'am, because my network is unstable. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so for our action research, I and my group mates have app with this topic, the effectiveness of using lesson plan in enhancing CPU senior high school students' participation. So I guess it will you will question why lesson plan, because it is it may seem very generic or very common, because we have confirmed that teachers from Central Philippine University Senior High School Department only use core syllabus, and none of them use lesson plan in teaching the lesson. So it has been observed that there are changes in the way that the lessons were delivered, and due to the virtual classroom setup, students were also observed to be passive during synchronous meetings. And actually, out of the total number of students, there are only 1 to 3 students who voluntarily and actively participate during discussions, and some students only participate when names are called and some do not respond at all. And it was also observed that during the attendance checking, students were able to unmute their microphones and respond when names are called. So with this, our objective sensing chart, so the direct causes or intervention that we have is to utilize lesson plan in teaching. It is to improve students' class participation using lesson plans in teaching in senior high school and and the direct consequences is to improve students' participation during discussion. So in the problem sensing chart, so the direct causes, our teachers in senior high school department do not use lesson plan in teaching. And the problem is students do not participate during class discussion, and the direct consequences is the lesson flow and strategies may become monotonous, and there is a risk that students become bored and uninterested with the lesson. So we all know that a lesson plan is very important in delivering our lessons. So studies have shown that lesson plans are an effective way to ensure activities that promote student active participation. Actually, it was also observed in my class that I am observing that the teachers sometimes tend to be teacher-centered in delivering her lessons. And we all know that in lesson plan, we could go back to the objectives on how we connected it to the activities and to the lesson flow that we are using to improve the students' participation inside the class or the student engagement inside the class. So that will be all.
Thank you, Ms. Sophie. My concern is just, it seems that the use of lesson plan should should really be in it to teachers. So it is already given that they should use lesson plan, although it is not primarily
implemented
or it is not submitted by the teachers. No, in mind, in theory, and in practice, as a teacher, you should really have a lesson plan. So there is a suggestion by Dr. Lopez na why won't you consider lesson study instead of
lesson plan?
Instead to be employed in specific topic in class. Lesson study, or a study guide, pero di ba, we in CPU are also implementing a study guide or lesson
or
study.
Outline, no? Or outline.
Pero sir, it's already given that the teacher should have outline in our canvas. I don't know. Lesson strategy is a strategy po in teaching and learning. Okay, you can look into that. It's a very good topic. It's a very good suggestion. Lesson study. You may look into that because it's a strategy that originated in Japan if you would want also to implement that.
I think, ma'am, because if we show that we will use lesson plan, it will reinforce the idea that they should use lesson plan in delivering their lessons, because it was confirmed that they do not use almost all of them from that department actually.
Grace, my point is the senior high school does not require lesson plan because the requirement of the university is syllabus. But technically, if you are a teacher, you should have a lesson plan, whether you will submit it or not. What you are doing actually is a lesson plan. Did you get me? I know where you're coming from, because technically you would want the teachers to really submit.
Yes.
Okay, but that's not the requirement of the university for us. But it should be in you as a teacher that you should plan what you're going to study. So there is a suggestion from Dr. Lopez that you may want to share. You may want to use the word or the strategy lesson study. What was that? Lesson study?
Pwede guro.
Yeah, including the steps. So this is a new one. New one.
Yes, so we
Meaning,
will
ma'am,
consider that suggestion.
I would like to inquire from Grace, lesson study in relation to students' performance, lesson study used by the teacher, or lesson study or studies prepared by the teacher to be used by the students as their guide. Na, amo na i-clear ninyo sa inyong title. Kay we are talking about participation. Okay? Example, if I have a lesson study or a lesson plan or a session plan prepared by my teacher, would it improve my participation in class? Because I have in my position that lesson study. Yan. Na amo na bala, or having a lesson study prepared by the teacher himself in his position alone, but could it improve the level of participation of my students than without that lesson study mentioned in the title? Kung lesson study gid man usarunta. So that is one thing that you have to consider. Wala ko kasiling mali yan, ano? Pero iyon ang i-consider ninyo na lesson study, kung mag-agree tayo mamaya na lesson study ang gagamitin after Dr. Lopez has given us the example and some related literature, the next thing that you have also to ask yourselves is this: a lesson study prepared by the teacher but being used by the students, or a lesson study prepared by the teacher and used only by him exclusively as a teacher. Na sa dalawang yan ang inyong pagpipilian at saka yun ang pag-iisipan para ma-deal ninyo para ma-elaborate sa inyong discussion, and especially in the operational definition that you have. Here, it is a collaborative work crafted by the teacher. Yan, maganda yan. Yan. Collaborative pala to. You see? Collaborative
So that's
work.
that's actually a very good strategy. We can introduce to senior high.
Kasi I have read a lot of literature, talagang effective kung a particular subject, collaborative ang at the start of the term, no? May nabasa akong literature tungkol dyan na at the start of the term, both the teacher and the students should craft the content, no? Should craft the contents that have to be covered in a particular subject or in a particular learning area. Kasi po, the literature says, lalong maganda kung collaborative kasi po, you are trying to consider the interests also of the learner as far as the contents are concerned. Kaya lang, yung problem lang natin dito, mayroon na po tayong ready-made na content based from the curriculum guide prepared by DepEd. So siguro, the next thing that you will have to do is craft it in such a way na congruent siya pa rin kahit nagtulong-tulungan kayo ng inyong mga students, but the congruency of what you have crafted, hindi po kayo nag-deviate sa what has been prepared by the DepEd. Namuna da. Okay.
Yes,
Napakaganda kung lesson study as mentioned by Dr. Lopez.
So, Grace and group, please take note na you try to check in the literature, what is lesson study, because Dr. Lopez will also send to us the literature for that. And then you craft it in such a way that you will enhance participation of students. No? So it's either also on a particular subject or on a particular grade level. No, so depende sa the flow of the research and your observation.
Siguro
Okay.
ma'am ay ang mapabuti pa rin ang title, no? The use of lesson study in relation to senior high school students performance.
Pwede.
Ano, hindi na tayo participation, performance na? O talagang participation?
I don't know with the group, what do you want? Do you
Ano
want to
group?
increase
Ano group ang
participation
tinutukoy nyo?
or increase
Participation sa klase lang o
performance?
talagang performance nila sa klase?
I think participation ng ilan na problem, sir.
Sige.
And
So,
Participation lang because we don't have
the
access
use
with
of
their
lesson study, the use of lesson study in relation to senior high school students participation in ano na, math or English. Na.
Are, the use of, just like Dr.
Na,
Lopez.
are,
The use of lesson study in relation to enhancing the senior high school students' performance in math, in English, in science.
Oo. Or participation. Kay participation gusto nila. Palitan lang ng participation.
So please take note of those suggestions, Miss Grace. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Lopez, for that inputs. It's 11:28 in my clock. If we cannot finish everyone, we will continue this in our own, in the CPU platform for those who were not able to present. I think we will only we'll have three more presenters or presentations, and then we will continue, Sir Ambos and Sir Pumado, with one day ano na lang siguro to finish everyone with their title defense. Okay? Thank you. So let's proceed to Jisan Sumugat group, and then Sheila Golmatico, and then Aura Cesar, and then the rest probably we will reconvene lang in another venue this week para ma-finish na lang tanan, sir. Natin. Okay, Jisan's group.
Okay po. Good morning sa lahat. Good morning everyone. So based po sa aming observation sa field study class po namin, so we come up with this problem sensing chart. First, for our direct causes, the poor communication and writing skills of students using Filipino language. Next to that is low comprehension of students when it comes in Filipino language. So for the problem, students poor writing skills. So for the direct consequences, wrong spelling and choices of words in writing essays and in oral recitations. Next to that is low scores in essay, part of quizzes and exams. Then for our objective sensing chart, so for our intervention, peer editing of students with their works. So dito sa peer editing, students will be having a pair. Magkakaroon sila ng kanilang pair. Tapos yung pair nila, for example, ang work ko at saka si Miss Remelin is my pair. So she will be going to correct or to edit my work dahil minsan po kapag ako yung nagsusulat tapos ipapabasa ko sa iba, maaring makita nila yung mali or they're going to notice na merong mali sa aking ginawang essay. So for our objectives, to expand the vocabulary and writing skills of students. And lastly, for our direct consequences, to improve students' writing skills and as well as the comprehension in terms of a Filipino subject. So with this, we come up with our title, Peer Editing and Improving Writing Skills in Filipino Language among grade 11 students of Central Philippine University. So thank you po sa lahat.
Okay, Jason, thank you for that. I suggest peer editing to improve writing skills in Filipino language among grade 11 students of CPU. Peer
Noted po,
editing
ma'am.
to improve writing skills. Actually, very simple, pero very good strategy. The peer editing is a very good strategy that you have, and then peer editing because you wanted to improve writing skills. So parang collaborative strategy siya on ano. Actually, it's a very good strategy.
Yeah. Dira kamo Gisan mag-research kayo ng maraming literature sa peer editing, ha?
Yes po, sir.
Peer editing, and then ang kanyang relationship sa writing skills sa language. Okay? Kasi but this is Filipino, you search first ng mga studies related to this in the Philippines. Okay? And then pag may in the Philippines, basta sa Pilipino siya. The more in Filipino. Pero pwede, I think kung general, kung language, you can relate sa other studies of peer editing sa writing skills in English, pwede rin can be included also a part of literature. But this is Filipino, so it should be Philippine studies. But I would like to inform you that other countries are also offering Filipino as their foreign language. They might have some other studies and researches related to that. So, magbasa kayo ng mga related literature. Okay? Sa Google Scholar, there are so many. No? Google Scholar kamo. Hindi ka mo magkuha sa mga blog, ha?
Opo, sir.
Pag Wikipedia.
Sige, sir. Salamat.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is
Very
a
good
very
title.
straightforward title, and we already know what it is. So good job, Jisan and team.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yes, sir. I'm boss.
Jizan, probably we can edit your title. So peer editing, improving writing skills in Filipino language among grade 11 students.
Opo, sir. I-edit lang po namin, sir.
Pero your title is actually very good.
Yeah.
The studies, very good.
Thank you, Jisan. So I think we will cater 2 more. No, so let's proceed to Sheila's group, Golmatico, and then the last will be the group of Aura. So the remaining groups who were not able to present today, we will just schedule a webinar like this, to finish everyone in their proposal or in their title proposal, so that before the Christmas break, you can start writing your for the introduction part or the rationale. Okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. I am Maria Nicole S. Mortega, and I will be the one presenting our output today. Ms. Saludares.
Okay.
Sa una. Next na. So, the identified problem is about comprehension difficulty of grade 6 students in ESP. The concern caught us during the ESP class. As a student teacher, we are tasked to observe live classes of the students, and this problem came across in this specific period. There are lessons that students find it difficult to understand and think of words that they are going to use. What happened always is that they ask the teacher about the translation that they wanted to use in order to answer specific questions. The problem is not just 1 or 2 words, but multiple words wherein they cannot compose their own sentences. Sometimes they tend to ask what is brave in Filipino, or what is devotion in Filipino. So the direct causes are lack of interest, prefer English language, lack of support in reading at home, lack of knowledge about Filipino words, poor study habits in Filipino subject, English became their first language. Indirect consequences, they cannot understand Tagalog terms, they cannot express their thoughts using Filipino language. So, ang mga student kasi po hindi based sa observation namin ay talagang English yung language na nakasanayan nila. Gumagamit din po sila ng mother tongue, pero most likely English po talaga. So proceed po sa objectives. So the objective of our problem is help students develop their knowledge in learning Filipino language and their edukasyon sa pagpapakatao, and the direct causes or intervention is to utilize concrete print-based reading or text materials, and the direct consequences is to improve students' comprehension and performance on edukasyon sa pagpapakatao ESP class. So the proposed title is, next please. Effectiveness of utilized reading materials in improving students' comprehension in edukasyon sa pagpapakatao ESP class. Okay naman.
Okay. Thank you, Nicole. My concern is that do not use the word utilize.
Okay, ma'am, noted.
So effectiveness of anong reading materials that you would want to use?
Values, ma'am, Filipino.
Is it a storybook? Is it a printed text?
Printed text, ma'am.
So that is supposed to be the name of your reading materials. So what kind of reading materials will you use? So to improve their comprehension in ESP. So effectiveness of what I'm trying to point out is what is that reading materials? Kasi yung reading materials are definitely printed in a set. Diba la? So what is it, your own made reading materials? Or where will you get your reading materials? Will you make them?
Yes, ma'am.
So you will be creating your own printed materials. So you name that printed materials.
Okay, ma'am.
So for example lang ha, Nicole book in whatever to improve students' comprehension in ESP class. Wala na grade level?
Grade 6, ma'am.
To improve comprehension in grade 6 ESP. Improving grade 6.
Ma'am Ai.
Yes, sir.
Kung ma-develop sanday Nicole sinati kuan pa nila no ma-validation pa sila.
Oo, siguro, sir. Oo, kay material siya.
Oo, kay kung reading materials lang Nicole, ka general bala siya. Oo.
Yeah. Oo. I mean, I hope you understand where we are coming from.
Yes, ma'am.
But sabi ni Dr. Lopez, you can adapt po. No? So you try to research on what are the effective reading materials. What are the effective reading materials? What are the effective reading materials in the literature or out there? So you will not already subject to content validation. Yes. Oo. Okay. So you look for material that is already used and then you implement that in ESP. Okay. So you try to change so that you can have a specific name of that material. Okay, Nicole, and then let's get back again and then I will guide you on if the title is correct or not na. So I hope you get the idea na your topic is very broad. What kind of reading material? So you do research on that.
Yes po, ma'am.
And Sheila. Okay. So I think you already understood that. Thank you, Dr. Lopez, for that input. We now proceed to the last presenter for today because we will just reconvene with Dr. Ambos and Dr. Pomado so that everyone can present. So the group of Aura, you'll be the last to present in the of time. So I hope all the other groups who were not able to present today, you can get as many information as you want so that you can craft your title very well na. Sige, Aura. I think base delayed ang mo, Aura.
Okay. Wait lang. I will share my screen. Wait lang, ma'am.
Can you stop share and share again so that...
Okay, ma'am. Wait lang.
Stop share and share again. So this will be the last group na lang. And then we will just schedule another one for, I think there will be 12 more groups na lang man to present.
Okay na, ma'am. Nakikita na po.
Nakikita ko yung we cannot see your slide but we can see your desktop. Parang you click probably the Open your PowerPoint first.
Okay, ma'am.
And then share screen and then click your...
Ako na lang ang mga present. Okay, maliguro.
Sige. Okay, pa.
Okay.
Nakita na.
Yes, please present it in presenters mode.
Okay na. So, ma'am, naririnig po ba ako, ma'am?
Pat, presentation mode, Pat. Click the presentation mode. The one with the play, the one with the play icon. Yan. Okay. Okay, Aura, you can start.
Good morning, everyone. So our problem is all about vocabulary and comprehension in the Filipino language among grade 9 students. So, Pat, next slide. So, in our problem sensing chart, the direct causes is difficulty of understanding Filipino language among grade 9 students. So when the learners read a Filipino shorter story, the teacher needs to translate the story in English language so that the learners will understand. So the problem during their Filipino class, some of students are having hard time to coping up and understand the lesson using the Filipino language. So in our direct consequences, cannot participate in oral recitation when the teacher asks some question about their understanding in the story. So for example, ng activity ay sila about reading, nang the students are not participating in oral recitation. So, Pat, next slide. So, in objective sensing chart on direct causes or intervention, so utilize the strategic intervention material. So, allow the student to read one Filipino story and narrate it in class for them to know if they understand. So, another is a spelling game of Filipino words for them to know and familiarize different Filipino words. So, in number 3, assign the students to prepare a one Filipino word with meaning every day, and they will give an example of sentence. So, number 4, give an oral recitation to grade 9 students for them to participate of using Filipino language in answering the teacher's question. And lastly, allow the student to use only Filipino or Tagalog during class for them to appreciate. So, our objectives to increase the vocabulary and improve the comprehension of grade 9 students in using Filipino language. And so our direct consequences, improve the performance of grade 9 students in vocabulary and comprehension using Filipino language. So that would be all.
Aura, what's the title?
So, bali ma'am, ang naisip po naming title is the use of short story ma'am for vocabulary and comprehension in the Filipino language among grade 9 students po ma'am.
The use of short story in Filipino. The use of Filipino short stories. Parang
Opo, ma'am.
So, where will you get the materials? Will you be the one to make the short stories in Filipino? Or you already have materials for that?
Mahimo na lang mahimo siguro po kami, ma'am.
Mahimo or kasi if you will make, may content validation pa.
Okay.
So, do you have the materials already or are you going to research pa?
Ma-research pa po, ma'am. Or
kasi ang can you go back to your intervention slides? You can also use ang dami nyo kasing interventions. So you can actually use you can use spelling game also. So, Filipino, bigkasan, a strategy to improve, something like that. I don't know. I mean, something like that. So, what is that bigkasan? So, bigkasan may be an oral spelling game for them. Something like that. Did you get what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir Dr. Pomado, the Filipino expert. Dr. Pomado here. Something like that, sir. Kaya ang problem na nakita nila is there's low vocabulary and comprehension. Grade 9. Oo.
Ano ang ilang kwan? Ano ba yung pakita yung title?
Wala pa can you type in your title?
Para wala siyang main variable. Anong main variable niya?
Hindi pa nila, sir, minention yung title. Can you mention your title?
Oo, kaya ang vocabulary kag comprehension do amo ilang nga dependent, di ba?
Yeah, oo. So you wanted to increase. So what is your strategy, Aura?
Oo.
Actually, sir, wala pa sila strategy, pero they suggested that the use of
bali ang title po sana namin.
The use of ano, ma'am, ay?
The use of Filipino short stories to increase to improve
Ah,
vocabulary
Sorry.
and comprehension in among grade 9 students in Filipino.
Di kay may ara naman na existing nga gina-imbid ang literature. Aura, gina-imbid naman ang literature sa lesson sa grade 9, both grammar and literature, di ba? Combined na. Unless kung ang short story ninyo, i-classify ninyo anong uri ng short story ang sa akala ninyo makapag-increase sa vocabulary and comprehension.
Oo.
Yan.
Yes.
Or are you going to consider as a technique, no? As a technique, regardless of the subject matter of the teacher, may short story based ka as an approach para ma-improve ang kanilang vocabulary. That is one thing na i-think about ninyo. Yun ang pag-iisipan ninyo. Total, wala pa naman kayong specific na
strategy.
Independent variable.
Yeah, oo. So you think about that.
Yeah.
At least you know na your dependent variable is the vocabulary and comprehension of Filipino. Pero wala pa kayong specific strategy kasi ang you lay down your interventions pero choose one. Choose one na you think can increase, especially sa high school.
Okay po, ma'am.
Okay. Sige. So, thank you, Aura, and the rest of our students. I think we are just on time. It's 11:53 in my clock. So, for the rest of the team, we would like, for the rest of the students, especially in CPU, may I ask you to please submit your PowerPoint presentations as part of your work output for this week to your specific field study facilitators. And then Dr. Ambos and Dr. Pomado, we will just schedule another forum for the rest of the 12 groups to present. At least we already have a guide on how to critique and how to assess because we are already please go back to the recorded video that was given to us by CBRC in our Facebook group so that you can remember again what are the specifics. So Dr. Ambos and Dr. Pomado, would you like to say
meaning Ma'am
something?
there will have another presentation. How many groups more?
12 na lang man, sir.
Meaning 24 groups ni tanan? O pila na presenta subong?
Parang I will just confirm. Basta with my may list 12 to 13, sir eh.
Lahat.
Oo, ang wala ang hindi pa naka-present.
Oo, sige. Okay. Just inform us.
Dr. Ambos. Sige, thank you, sir, Dr. Pomado, for joining us today.
Andyan na si Sir Lopez.
Yeah. Multitask yung si Dr. Lopez.
Mga accreditation po kasi at ayos
Oo.
po.
It's
All right.
okay.
Go ahead po, Dr. Ambos, for your announcement. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, of course, for this time. And probably we can have either Friday or Saturday, ma'am, for this. We can consume only probably half day.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have only few remaining groups to present.
Yes.
And we would like to thank Carbalita, okay, for this. Thank you so much, Dr. Lopez.
All right. Po. On behalf po of Dr. Carl Balita, who's in Iloilo, by the way, I will just tell him later that you are from Central Philippine University, which, by the way, I told him, nakalimutan lang yun din siguro. And of course, thank you so much, Dr. Pomado, Dr. Ambos, and Ms. Joanne Abelio for really facilitating on my behalf for the latter part. Dr. Villanueva cannot join us already because he had also was his power interruption in their place. So he would love to read your presentations for the other group at yung mga iba pa nating participants na hindi po nakapag-present ngayon, like from Pan Pacific and from UC and from UM in Mindanao, you may upload your respective presentations sa ating FB group Ma'am Joanne from, kapangalan mo pala, Ma'am Joanne, yung, si Ma'am Jury rather, from CBRC. Po, can we flash again or put the link, Facebook link of the close group po ng ating action researchers for us to engage there. For our students or education students and researchers, please feel free to engage and comment po doon sa mga presentation ng mga iba para po mas mapaganda po yung ating action research. And then, may we now present the last parts po, Mr. JR, our certificate of appreciation and participation for our education students. Yeah. Okay, so Sir JR, and please type in the chat box, how are we so far? To our students, please turn your camera now. Kumusta ang buong araw, buong umaga rather, ng pakikinig at pakikibahagi at pag-represent syempre yung ating mga action research topics. Come on, please type your thoughts in the chat box. All right. Okay, so I think, may I share from my end? Okay. So all the files, okay, from this webinar would be posted again in our closed group. Okay, here we go. So also, for you to be able to have a certificate for this webinar, kindly accomplish the registration form. Yung mga naka-accomplish na po last time, you don't need to accomplish it again. Instead, yung mga hindi pa po nakapag-accomplish, Miss Jury from the Center for Lifelong Learning will be placing the link, that's the one, the registration link sa mga hindi pa po nakapag-register so that your full name would be recorded for the certificate. Let me read. CBRC Center for Lifelong Learning and MAESTRA Professional Journal present this certificate of appreciation or participation to our education students from CPU, from Pan Pacific, from UC, from UM, and other schools not mentioned for participating in the webinar on the basics of action research on the 14th and 15th day of December 2021 via Zoom. Issued this 15th day of December in Manila, Philippines. Signed, Dr. Carl E. Balita, the publisher, yours truly, the editor-in-chief of MAESTRA Professional Journal, and Dr. Wilmar Villanueva, the speaker for this event. In connection, may we present the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Wilmar and Villanueva for being our generous speaker for action research. Can we give Dr. Villanueva a virtual clap, please? And we would also be making our crafting a certificate of appreciation to Ms. Joanne, to Dr. Ambos, and to Dr. Pomado. Ms. Jury, can you take note of that for the certificate of appreciation? And for all the other links for collaboration and for future engagement, please like MAESTRA AFB page. It's in there. Meron pong mga material dyan, like let's say the APA format on how to properly cite. We have also sample action research posted. And for our community, please follow us. And for CBRC Train Dev, for Facebook, for our future events. And finally, our action research group that was already communicated earlier. Can we move to the next announcement? We would like to inform you that CBRC Training, the Center for Lifelong Learning, is a NAEAP accredited provider. So watch out for those accredited programs come 2022. And you will be our priority for us to be our partners and participants for the said activities. And finally, MAESTRA Professional Journal will be issuing its issue this year entitled Recover and Revitalize Education Through Research and Innovation. For reservation of the e-copies, you may check on that link for you to have the e-copy eventually. And we are promising that we will be having the research colloquium in June 2022 and also allotting special issue for all the action research studies of our students from CPU, from Pan Pacific, from UC, from UM, and other universities in the country. On that note, maraming salamat po. Kindly also accomplish our post-event evaluation for today. And we invite everyone to turn on your respective cameras for our final photo documentation. Let's give each other a heart sign, please, for a job well done. It was not only the Central Philippine University students who learned, but definitely I think the other students learn so much from the engagement, because at the end of the day, learning is sharing. We all smile, everyone? Sir
Okay.
JR?
Okay, so count 1, 2, 3. Stay lang po tayo. And 1, 2, 3. Tapos. Maraming salamat po.
All right. Salamat po, Miss Joanne. Thank you. Any final words from Joanne?
Thank you, sir. In behalf of
you.
Central Philippine University, our Dean, Dr. Merlihon Sai, would like to warmly say thank you to the Carl Balita Group, especially to the Editor-in-Chief of Carl Balita, Dr. Lopez, for facilitating and for immediately answering our queries. And this is not the end, but it is just the beginning of our lifelong, sabi nga nila, collaboration in the world of education. So to our students, thank you for actively participating, and please continue to work on your paper. This will go a long way, I'm sure, with this collaboration. So to Dr. Pumado and to Dr. Ambos, thank you also for such great partners in this activity. So thank you, everyone. God bless. Keep safe.
God bless.
You.
Thank you, Dr.
And
Lopez.
thank you.
Carl
Thank
Balita,
you, Carl
Balita
Balita.
staff.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
All right
you
po.
po.
And thank you as well to CBRC Iloilo po, who advocated for you. And CBRC Vice Sir JR, maraming salamat. Ma'am Joanne, our Associate Managing Editor and Officer of the Center for Lifelong Learning, salamat po. Have a great day ahead,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.